Yo legends! Welcome to Fanfiction Legend. Grab your headphones because today's story is about to hit different. Disclaimer: I do not claim ownership of this story. All rights belong to the original creators. Dragon Ball, Capture No.18 at the start. Chapter 50. After a new round of collision, Beerus and Ash slowly distanced themselves from each other. Ash retreated 100 meters, while Beerus remained motionless. It was obvious that the winner was decided in the first round of battle between the two. Beerus is even better. P.S. Thank you for your tips and votes. Thank you everyone. Chapter 50, Super Blue Ash. Beerus looked at Ash. It's time to end the warm-up. You can use your Super Saiyan 4. Ash shook his head and said, I can't go Super Saiyan 4. Beerus was stunned for a moment, then frowned. You can't? Ash nodded. Yes. He can't reach Super Saiyan 4, but he can reach Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan Blue. Beerus stared at Ash. Your normal combat power is stronger than those Saiyans. If you can't transform into a Super Saiyan, then you are not as good as them. He now guessed that Ash might not transform into a Super Saiyan with such high normal combat power. Could it be obtained through transformation? Ash smiled and said, Who told you I can't transform into a Super Saiyan? I said I can't transform into Super Saiyan 4. Beerus snorted coldly. You mean Super Saiyan 3? That's useless. I've seen Super Saiyan 3 in Son Goku. It's too weak. As he spoke, his tone gradually turned colder. If this is all you can do, then there's no need to fight anymore. I will destroy the planet you're standing on. Ash shook her head and smiled faintly. You are too impatient. I said I can't reach Super Saiyan 4, but I didn't say I can't reach other forms. Beerus narrowed his eyes slightly. What do you mean? Ash said calmly, Super Saiyan God and the Super Saiyan that surpasses the Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue. The words fell. What? Beerus' eyes lit up. Super Saiyan God. No, there is something beyond Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue. What form is this? But Beerus didn't want to dwell on this. What did he hear? He found the person he came here to find. I thought it was gone, but it showed up again. Beerus stared at Ash. Come on, let me see. Ash didn't say anything and slowly closed his eyes. Call next moment. His eyes flew open and he clenched his fists. Only a low roar came from his throat. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Blue ripples rippled at the feet and spread wildly in all directions. Boom! The sky and the ocean suddenly shook violently. A sacred and extremely majestic sky blue aura suddenly rose into the sky and shot straight into the clouds. Ash's body was covered in a thin white and blue shell. Next second, crack, the thin shell suddenly broke into countless pieces and scattered. A figure gradually emerged at this moment. Ash's hair and eyebrows turned from black to sky blue, and her pupils were also a deep blue. Layers of sky blue flames ignited around his body, and the sacred and majestic power of God spread in all directions. Saw this scene. Beerus' pupils suddenly shrank. There was some disbelief on his face. Such a strong divine power. That's right, this is the breath of God. Beerus narrowed his eyes and looked at Ash seriously several times. Not old. Can one cultivate divine power with a human body? Is it possible that there is a master teaching you? Beerus was filled with thoughts. All kinds of questions lingered in his mind, completely immersed in the shock brought by Ash's transformation. Ash's transformation also shocked everyone present, including the Z fighters who just woke up, Son Gohan and Vegeta, and Bulma and his group who were watching Sun Wukong hidden on the top of the cruise ship, and so on, the god Kai-Shin on the extremely distant planet Kai-Shin. They all looked shocked. Weiss took a bite of the hot snack before looking up at the sky. After looking at Ash with narrowed eyes, he smiled softly. Lord Beerus will suffer this time. The other side. Vegeta and the others just woke up and saw Ash turning into Super Saiyan Blue. Vegeta frowned. Is this the Super Saiyan Blue above Super Saiyan God? It's exactly as Ash said. I can't detect any aura at all. Gogeta gritted his teeth. Damn it. This is really infuriating. I can see it, but I can't sense its presence. I don't even know how strong. Piccolo looked at Son Gohan beside him and said, Gohan, didn't Ash teach you this? Son Gohan shook his head. No, Master only taught me Super Saiyan 4. Okay. Piccolo felt a little regretful, as he was hoping to learn some details about Super Blue. And Bulma sighed. Old man, speak. Tacy looked at Master Roshi and said. Her eyes were sparkling with stars, and all she saw was Ash. I have to say, the sky blue hair really suits her preference. Today was definitely not a wasted trip. Turtle Immortal, back to Ash and Beerus. Beerus was stunned for a moment before slowly coming back to his senses. He narrowed his eyes and spoke slowly. What's your name? Ash. Ash. Beerus repeated it, as if trying to commit the name to memory. Then he continued, I am Beerus. Ash nodded without saying anything. Beerus stared at Ash. Of all the humans I've fought, you can be ranked first among the strongest. Ash smiled and said, You are also the strongest I have ever fought against. Beerus laughed dumbly and said in a light tone, Because I am the god of destruction. The god of destruction is terrifying. The words fell. Beerus's expression gradually turned cold, and an invisible aura of terror surged out of his body. Call out. I saw a layer of strange and majestic purple divine power slowly rising from the bottom to the top at his feet. The power of God swirled and surged around him, dancing strangely. The oppressive feeling brought by this breath is extremely terrifying. Just looking at it can make people feel terrified. Boom! Exclamation! Astonishing divine power roared in, and Beerus's aura surged wildly. At the same time, Beerus' figure suddenly shot out and flew towards Ash. The speed is so fast that it cannot be captured by the naked eye. Ash narrowed her eyes slightly, and a sky blue aura rose up around her body. She immediately assumed a fighting stance. The limbs are covered with red, green and blue light at the same time. Critical hit attack speed. Boom! Exclamation! The two men's fists collided violently. Boom! Exclamation! Page 62. With the two of them as the center, an extremely terrifying shockwave burst out, blowing everyone present to the brink of collapse. The entire galaxy trembled. Beerus retreated several thousand meters, almost falling into the sea before he finally stopped. Beerus looked at his fist in disbelief. Sore. It hurts. And in place. Ash didn't even move. The difference is immediately apparent. Below. Weiss narrowed his eyes and stared at Ash's fist. Red, green, and blue? What kind of energy is this? He just realized that Ash's punch seemed to be blessed by an invisible force. Its speed and power were several times stronger. Request flowers. Interesting. Weiss smiled. It seems that Lord Beerus has really suffered a lot. Beerus gritted his teeth and shot towards Ash again. This time, his speed was obviously faster, and the purple aura around him was even more powerful. Ash looked at Beerus, who was rushing towards her. The corner of his mouth slightly raised, and then his right hand raised arm. In an instant, a colorful energy suddenly took shape, and a terrifying aura spread. Soul Judge. Beerus' pupils suddenly shrank as he was flying towards him. What is this? Exclamation. He was trembling all over. Not daring to think too much, Beerus quickly crossed his arms to block. Ash threw it out suddenly, not giving Beerus any time to react. Boom! Exclamation. The Soul Punisher hit Beerus, and a deafening explosion sounded instantly. Thick smoke billows hateful. An angry roar came from the smoke, and Beerus was hit by several scratches. Beerus shouted, Destruction! Boom! Next interest. I saw a deep purple destructive energy in the thick fog, destroying the smoke completely, and rushing towards Ash with the momentum to destroy everything. Ash's eyes narrowed. The power of destruction, you can take it, but you don't have to. It's physically and mentally consuming. Swish. Immediately, Ash moved instantly without thinking. Ash appeared behind Beerus on the left and punched Beerus in the face. Boom! There was only a dull crashing sound. Beerus' pupils shrank, and he instantly flew backwards and crashed into the ocean. Boom! Exclamation, exclamation. Beerus' body was like an axe of nature, cutting the sea in half. Under his impact, the sea water rushed back and rushed up hundreds of meters high. Ash and Chen Sheng chased after him, bursting out with sky-blue divine power and rushing forward fiercely. Fall straight into the ocean. Call out. Beerus appeared in the middle of the sea, his left face slightly swollen and covered in blood. Beerus touched his face, and then his expression visibly darkened. And this time, Ash's figure gradually approached him. Beerus' eyes were cold. Very good, you are the first one to hurt me. The words fell. Boom! Exclamation, exclamation. A terrifying divine power gushed out, and Beerus almost used 8% of his normal strength. Ash's expression changed slightly and she stopped in a hurry. Beerus was surrounded by a thick purple aura, like a ball, wrapping him in the center. Beerus roared angrily, and at the same time opened his big hand and countless purple energy poured out. Boom! Exclamation, exclamation. Ash's eyes narrowed, and she raised her hands and slapped them back and forth, deflecting all incoming attacks. Saw this scene. Beerus's expression turned fierce, and he clasped his hands together. Eat my move. Boom! A circular energy of red and orange condensed from his hands. As his hands expanded rapidly outward, the flames became blazing, creating rolling heat waves under the high temperature. Scorching bomb. In a blink, the volume has reached the size of a moon. PS. Thank you for your tips and votes. Guang. Chapter 51. Time stop. Defeat Beerus. Subscribe. See this scene. Ash's expression froze slightly, and she quickly placed her hands on her waist, forming a calyx shape. A dazzling blue energy suddenly appeared, and then a ball of energy containing tremendous divine power gathered in his hands. Beerus flew high into the sky, supporting the scorching bomb that covered the sky with one hand. Beerus stared at Ash. Come and show me how you take it. He bent his fingers slightly. Next second, the scorching bomb, which was larger than the moon, suddenly crashed into the earth. Extremely fast, the energy bomb is gradually approaching. Everyone's expression changed. It's still tens of thousands of meters away and hasn't fallen yet. I was almost fainted by the scorching breath. Sun Wukong's expression was extremely solemn. What a scorching air wave. The god of destruction is really powerful. Sun Wukong looked at Ash with expectation. You must take it. At this moment, Sun Wukong had to admit it. Beerus fights him. Definitely let it go. And it's not just ordinary water. He had to be thankful that the other party didn't kill him. Piccolo, Gogeta, and the others also had the same idea as him. Hateful. I can only watch. Gogeta gritted his teeth, his eyes fixed on the scorching bomb that was approaching in the sky. He really could only watch the scorching bullets coming down. Nothing can be done, because just resisting this heat wave made him tired. Not to mention resisting. Paragus almost couldn't breathe as he looked at the scorching bomb that covered the sky. He quickly looked at Broly, his face tense. Broly, Ash won't be able to catch it soon. You have to go up and help him. Broly's face was serious. I will, but I may not be able to catch it. And on Ash's side, Ash roared softly and thrust both hands out suddenly. Page 63. Finally, Kamehameha wave. Next interest. An extremely thick energy column, wrapped in blue lightning, carries an unstoppable momentum that can crush everything in its path. Crash towards the scorching bomb. In an instant, the two energies suddenly collided. Boom! Exclamation. The moment of explosion. A roar louder than a planetary collision resounded through the sky, and the entire Earth was shaking wildly. Not only the entire planet. The collision between the two affected the entire northern galaxy, and the strong tremors caused the northern galaxy to shake. The aftermath is still spreading outward wildly. Ha! Ash stared at Beerus opposite her, and her energy poured out as if it were free. Boom! In the end, the Kamehameha wave pressed straight forward, pushing the scorching bomb back hard. Gradually approaching Beerus. Beerus narrowed his eyes slightly. There's still so much energy. HMPH, then just catch them all. Beerus raised his hands and continued to infuse energy. All of his strength was suddenly released. At this moment, Beerus did not hold back at all. Give it your all under normal circumstances. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. In a blink, the volume of the scorching bomb expanded dozens of times again, becoming extremely huge. Looking from Earth, it looks like a sun the same size as the Earth is hitting the Earth. Everyone was horrified and scared. It's not an exaggeration to say that this scene is the end of the world. No, it's the end of the world. Because, at this moment, some ordinary people could not bear the heat wave and were gradually evaporated and melted. The entire ocean is evaporating visibly. Countless hot air filled the space between heaven and earth below. Everyone saw this scene. They are all in despair. Vegeta's face turned grim. Damn it, it's over. Ash won't be able to hold on. Glenn looked desperate. No way, my child is only 1 year old. Piccolo also had an ugly look on his face. Damn it. Son Gohan stared at Ash with a worried look on his face. Master, the atmosphere was suddenly filled with despair. Aside. No. 21's pretty face was tense, and her small fists were clenched so tightly that they seemed to be digging into her flesh. Her eyes were fixed on Ash in the sky, and she could no longer hold back. No. 18 noticed that something was wrong with her and quickly pulled her back. Don't go, trust Ash. Number 18 was also nervous, but still spoke calmly. But no. 21 looked anxious. She couldn't bear to watch Ash suffer. They were already exhausted just trying to resist the heat, not to mention Ash, who is in the battle with Beerus. No. 18 stared at No. 21. You will only cause trouble for Ash if you go. Hear the words. Number 21 was silent. Indeed, she couldn't do anything, and going there might even distract Ash. But, does it look like this? Wise stared at the sky, then looked at Beerus for a moment before frowning slightly. Lord Beerus, he didn't expect it either. Beerus hits the head. This time I will not hesitate to use all my normal strength. But Weiss looked at Ash, who was struggling to hold on. Can he catch it? Should I stop it myself? After a while of immersion, Wise shook his head. Forget it. Respect Lord Beerus. He looked at the people struggling to defend themselves and said with a smile, Come to my side. It's safer for the time being. His staff tapped the ground lightly. Boom, boom. A few ethereal sounds rang out, and a huge circular barrier suddenly appeared with him as the center. Isolate all storms and heat waves. Seeing this, everyone hurried in. Weiss smiled softly. If you eat other people's food, you should protect them. As for whether the Earth can survive in the future, it depends on whether Ash can stop it. Aside. Paragus relied on Broly's resistance and barely avoided being eroded by the heat. Otherwise, with his strength, he would definitely be pissing himself to death with the heat. Paragus stared at the sky, lost in thought for a moment before he slowly spoke. Broly, go help Ash, otherwise, we're all doomed. Broly looked serious and nodded slightly. Yeah. Immediately, he was about to fly towards Ash. And above the cruise ship, Sun Wukong looked at his hands, which were already red and swollen from the heat. His expression was serious. No, I can't just watch like this. Sun Wukong looked at Ash, his brows furrowed. Ash might not be able to hold on, and the earth will be destroyed. His face was covered with sweat. Sun Wukong had never faced such a difficult enemy before. Most importantly, he can't help at all. What should I do? What should I do? Sun Wukong was so anxious that he was sweating profusely. He had never needed powerful strength so much. And on Ash's side, the energy is pushed back. Ash's face darkened and she pondered for a moment. Seeing that, I can only use that trick. Limited time stop. Control the time stop range between Beerus and yourself. Success is victory, loss is defeat. Success or failure depends on this. Ash's eyes turned fierce and he growled, Time stop. Thus, The voice just fell. The area including him and Beerus instantly turned grayish-white. 3 second that's enough. Ash suddenly poured out all the energy in her body and shouted, 30 times Kaioken. Boom! A layer of red flames 100 meters high instantly rose up around him. A flash of blood red suddenly appeared in the entire gray-white space. Finally, Kamehameha's Kigong wave, under the blessing of King Kenkai, instantly expanded more than 10 times, almost effortless. Beerus's scorching bomb was instantly disintegrated. Crack at the same time, the time-stopping area instantly shattered into countless fragments. Reality. Boom! Exclamation in Beerus's eyes, the final Kamehameha wave under the 30 times Kaioken appeared without any warning. In the eyes of everyone, it also appeared suddenly. Page 64. Everyone present saw the same scene. Suddenly, Ash burst out with a red heat wave 100 meters high, and her Kamehameha became several times stronger. It also easily penetrated Beerus's scorching bullet. Beerus' pupils shrank, and he looked at the approaching Kamehameha with a look of disbelief. What about his scorching bombs? When did it disappear? Not only is it gone, why is Kamehameha so terrifying? You didn't have the energy just now, did you? Beerus was in so much shock. But he didn't have much time to delve into it. The Kamehameha wave was only millimeters away from him. There's no time to unleash destruction. Boom! Exclamation! Suddenly, a huge roar resounded through the sky and filled the earth and sky. The entire earth was shaking violently, as if it was about to explode in the next second. Beerus took Ash's full-strength attack with his body. It happened so suddenly that he didn't react at all. The smoke produced by the explosion formed a huge mushroom cloud that covered the sky. Tall Ash gasped for breath, his eyes fixed on the smoke. Pain all over the body. Sore. He used up almost all his energy in this attack. He also didn't expect that Beerus was playing with him. If there was no time stop, it would have been difficult to continue. Ding! Congratulations to the host for defeating Beerus and gaining 10% of Goge's progress. Goge is now fully unlocked and integrated into the host. At this moment, a mechanical and ethereal voice sounded in Ash's mind. Next moment, Ash only felt a warm current sweeping through her body, and all the fatigue in her body was swept away. Heavenly sound. Ash had never thought the system sounded so good. Ash could sense that her normal combat power was rapidly increasing again at this moment. Ash glanced at the system's personal attribute column. Pupils shrink. 500 Ga. Not only that, he also felt that he had an extra form. Dark blue. Ash looked surprised and happy. And at the same time the other side quiet. Deathly silence. The atmosphere fell silent at this moment. No one spoke. After a long time, someone finally spoke slowly. Krillin was confused. What just happened? Why fight? In a flash it was over. Piccolo was equally confused. I don't know either. Gogeta was shocked. I only saw Ash penetrated Beerus' attack at that moment and hit Beerus. Son Gohan said in surprise, I don't know about the other things, but it seems that we have survived the crisis. Everyone came back to their senses after hearing what Son Gohan said. Look of surprise. Alive. Please give me some money and votes. Chapter 52. Beerus admits defeat. The battle is over. Subscribe whoosh. Whoosh. At this time, two figures came over. Son Goku and Broly. They were both filled with confusion and shock. Kakarot. Goku. Everyone shouted at the same time. Sun Wukong explained why he did not show up. Then he slowly analyzed it. Sun Wukong looked puzzled. Ash seemed to have just unleashed a Kaioken in an instant, then penetrated the scorching bullet and hit Beerus. Krillin nodded. Indeed, we don't know what happened, but it's a good thing anyway. Numbers 21 and 18 breathed a sigh of relief. Well, you are worthy of being my husband X2. Weiss frowned slightly and looked at it for a long moment before saying seriously, it seems it's an ability related to time. Sun Wukong was stunned for a moment, then seemed to recall something and said quickly, I remember now. Everyone looked around quickly. Time to stop. The time stop that Ash told us last time, Sun Wukong said. Gogeta also suddenly realized, no wonder, this explains why Ash was able to turn the situation around in an instant. Weiss narrowed his eyes slightly. Time stop. He looked at Ash with an ambiguous look in his eyes. This scion is so mysterious. And on Ash's side, after the system's reward, he is now full of energy. Now, he has more confidence to fight Beerus. The thick fog in the sky slowly dissipated. Beerus' figure was revealed. Ash looked over. At this moment, Beerus' body was covered with scars of all sizes, and there was a big hole in his pants. He looked in a disastrous state and was gasping for breath. Call noticing someone's gaze directed at him. Beerus raised his eyes and looked over. Beerus stared at Ash. What did you just do? Ash said, Time stop. Time stop. Beerus pondered for a moment, then smiled lightly, his expression calm. I didn't expect that you would trick me. He was no longer as drunk as he had just been. The look he gave Ash was one of undisguised admiration. I'm not going to fight anymore. I lost. As soon as these words came out, Ash's pupils shrank slightly. She couldn't believe it. What? Below. Wise was also slightly startled and quickly looked at Beerus. Lord Beerus. Why did you admit defeat? This doesn't seem like Lord Beerus. When it comes to bellicosity and strength, no one can compare to Beerus. But why would he admit defeat after being beaten like this? Beerus raised his eyebrows slightly. What's wrong? Ash shook her head. Nothing, just a little confused. You haven't used your full strength yet, have you? Beerus shook his head and smiled. I have used all my strength, but still lost. Ash looked at Beerus without saying anything. Did you use all your strength? Not at all. Ash felt that the reason why Beerus didn't want to fight. The reason may be that he has used all his normal fighting power and still hasn't won. Besides, he is still a human being. If he continues to fight, even if he wins, he will not feel much sense of accomplishment or pride. Page 65. This is the surrender. The battle ended. The two of them slowly landed on the deck. The atmosphere suddenly became tense. Everyone looked at Beerus warily, with undisguised hostility in their eyes. Beerus looked at everyone, pondered for a moment, and then slowly said, I lost. Hear the words. Everyone was stunned. Admit defeat. Sun Wukong walked forward with a smile and looked at Ash and Beerus. You two are really strong. I really benefited a lot from watching this battle. Beerus looked at Son Goku and smiled. You are very strong too. Son Goku shook his head. Compared to Lord Beerus, he is still too weak. Beerus smiled but said nothing. He looked around at everyone and said, I'm really sorry for causing you trouble. Everyone was shocked. I didn't expect the mighty god of destruction to apologize. Bulma took a step forward and said helplessly, Forget it, I forgive you. I just hope you can be calmer next time. Beerus smiled and said, I will. In that case, can I still come to Earth to play? Bulma nodded, Okay, but you can't cause trouble. Okay. Beerus looked at Wise and said coldly, Wise, let's go. Hear the words. Wise hurried over, holding a lunchbox and an ice cream. Wise hummed, Here it comes, Lord Beerus. Beerus's mouth twitched slightly as he suppressed his impulse. Looking at Ash, in that case, we'll leave first. Ash nodded, welcome to come again next time. Beerus nodded slightly, supporting Wise's back with his right hand. Wise looked at everyone and smiled. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye. Everyone spoke out in unison. Buzz! Exclamation. A colorful light radiated from around Wise and Beerus, and the two were wrapped in energy and flew straight into the sky. In the blink of an eye, only a ray of starlight can be seen in situ. Everyone looked at each other. Sun Wukong sighed, as expected. There are still many powerful people in this world. As he said this, he looked at Ash and said, This time, if it weren't for Ash, we might really be finished. Piccolo agreed, indeed. Vegeta crossed his arms, a complicated expression on his face. He was deeply aware of his own insignificance. Sun Wukong smiled and said, I'm going to work harder on my training. But before that, I still want to know, Ash, what happened to your super blue just now? Ash smiled and said, after mastering the power of God, you can achieve a 087 form. Sun Wukong pondered, the power of God. It is indeed a bit tricky. It must be very difficult for him to practice alone. Ash seemed to see the doubt in his heart and said, you can wait until Beerus and Wise come next time, and bring some delicious food to ask Wise for advice. Sun Wukong was stunned. Wise. Everyone looked over as well. The person who only knew how to eat. Vegeta was also confused. Shouldn't he ask Beerus for advice? Ash smiled and said, Wise is Beerus's master, butler, and angel. He is extremely powerful. What? Everyone exclaimed. Krillin was shocked. Are you saying that the person who only knew how to eat is Beerus's master? Yes, someone gasped. Vegeta frowned. If Beerus is so strong, then isn't his master Wise also strong? He stopped talking halfway through. Everyone knows at this moment. Everyone had to admit that today was truly a magical day. Sun Wukong stared at the sky and clenched his fists. I must become stronger. The feeling of having your destiny controlled by someone else. It really doesn't feel good at all. Vegeta snorted coldly and took a step forward. Kakarot, I will be stronger than you. P.S. Please give me some money. There will be more later. Chapter 53, Lottery, Kurnoa and Yamoshi. Subscribe. After the battle with Beerus, a week passed in the blink of an eye. Sun Wukong and his companions gathered all 7 Dragon Balls, summoned the dragon, and made a wish to revive all those who died in the battle between Ash and Beerus. Beerus and Wise came 2 or 3 times. As for the purpose, needless to say, just to try something fresh and delicious. After all, it was the first time in hundreds of millions of years that the 2 of them had eaten such delicious food. It's rare to find such delicious food. You must come and try it more often. And Sun Wukong took advantage of this opportunity. Take Vegeta and Broly with you and go ask Wise for advice. Wise saw the 3 people coming to study and did not refuse. It means that 3 people need to pay the tuition on time. So the 3 of them followed Beerus to his residence planet of destruction this day. Ash was bored at home. I made an appointment with No. 18 and No. 21 to play poker together. Looking at the 2 people sitting in front of her left and right, Ash smiled mysteriously. Grab the landlord. Next one's turn. No. 21's pretty face lit up with joy, and she quickly said, no. Her expression was calm, but a glint of cunning could still be seen in her eyes. It's number 18 turn. Number 18 frowned slightly, and after carefully examining the cards for a while, he said in a dissatisfied tone, what kind of cards are these? They are so bad. Then, he turned his gaze to Ash and said helplessly, no. Ash looked at the 2 of them and smiled. Do you dare to do something big? Big? The 2 of them looked over at the same time. Ash coughed lightly. The loser has to take away one of his belongings. 2 people. Number 18 narrowed his eyes, looked at Ashley and then at number 21. You 2, are you guys hiding something from me? I have a premonition on the 18th. No. 21 and Ash must have done something shameful. No. 21's pretty face turned slightly red, and she looked at Ash fiercely. Play this now. You are afraid that No. 18 doesn't know. Then she said as if nothing had happened, ahaha. It's nothing, you're overthinking it. Number 18 stared back and forth at the 2 of them without saying a word. After a moment's silence, he smiled and said, then let's play. The corners of Ash's mouth rose slightly, but she didn't have time to be happy. But then No. 18 continued, to be fair, I'm going to share the cards with No. 21, and you can only be the landlord from now on. Ash looked at No. 18, are you kidding? However, no. 18 completely ignored Ash's gaze and moved closer to no. 21. Let's get started. Ash looked at the two of them and asked, "Is this how we play it? Then don't blame me." First round. Unsurprisingly, Ash won. Ash looked at the two of them and smiled. "Come on, mock up. Want to target me?" No. 18. Page 66. No. 18 frowned slightly and looked at no. 21 helplessly, indicating that she had tried her best. Number 21 was silent. She didn't know whether to complain or what to say. If we team up together and lose together, doesn't that mean we have to take it off together? No. 21 looked at no. 18's clothes, then looked at his own. Well, not bad. It definitely wasn't me who was eliminated first. Next. No. 18 took off her denim jacket and no. 21 took off her black stockings, revealing her white and slender legs underneath. 18 stared at Ash. "Keep going." 3 minutes later, number 18 blushed slightly. "Keep going." This time 5 minutes passed. Number 18 was a little dissatisfied. "Keep going." This time the fight lasted a full 10 minutes. Number 18 looked desperate. This loss was too tragic. No. 18 suppressed her shame and said, "Ash, are you cheating?" Ash's expression remained unchanged. "Absolutely not." Number 18 stared at him. "I don't believe it. Why are your cards always so good?" Ash thought for a moment and said, "Maybe it's God's blessing?" "Huh, God bless you, huh?" Number 18 snorted. "I'll shuffle the cards." Ash shrugged and handed over the cards. But there were no surprises. No. 18 and no. 21 still lost. No. 21 twitched his lips slightly and looked at no. 18. Holy light. I looked at myself again. Fortunately, I still had some dignity. A few more rounds passed. Ash lost a few games symbolically, leaving the two with a little dignity. But unsurprisingly, both of them lost everything. Ash smiled and said, "Do you dare to do something big?" The two looked at each other. Number 18 stared at Ash. "Come." No. 21 was helpless. What a stubborn donkey. 3 days and 3 nights later. Ash walked to the kitchen refreshed and prepared breakfast. After breakfast, Ash sat on the sofa. After these few days of baptism, he solemnly opened the system's personal attribute column. As the system's voice fell, a blue rectangular border appeared out of thin air in front of his eyes, revealing all his personal attributes within the border. Host, Ash. Combat power, 500 Guy. Bloodline, pure-blooded Saiyan. Top skills, Air Dance, King Ken, Kai Control, Big Bang Kamehameha, Final Kamehameha, Divine Punishment, Clone, Kigen, Soul Punisher main template, Goja Super unlocked and fully fusion 1 draw remaining subtemplate, Kai Shin unlocked backup templates, Jebit, Satan, Tao Pai Pai unknown. Remaining draws, 5 template draw opportunities. Seeing these rows of attribute columns, Ash was inexplicably excited. No matter how many times you watch it, it's always a delight to the eyes. After taking a deep breath, Ash slowly said, "Let's try our luck with the template first." Immediately, Ash said, "System, all 5 templates have been drawn." Okay. As soon as the system finished speaking, the attribute template slowly dissipated, and 5 boxes fell from the sky appeared before his eyes. Ash stared at the box without blinking. White, blue, white and red. Became famous overnight. Ash's eyes lit up. The levels of this template lottery are white, blue, purple, gold and red. White is the worst, red is the best. After being unknown last time, he became famous again this time. Ash quickly said, "Open them all." Okay. Immediately, the 5 neatly arranged boxes in front of Ash exploded at the same time. 5 different rays of light shine forth. Ash looked closely. The 5 subtemplates are Yamcha, Oolong, Dendi, Konohamaru, and Krinoa. Ash automatically skipped the first 4 and jumped to the last one. Krinoa. Ash was stunned for a moment. Who is this? System, deploy Chronoa's abilities. Good host. Immediately, a figure appeared in front of him, with abilities marked below the figure. Chronoa, eternal life, instant teleportation, time travel, dimensional travel, telekinesis, time control, time scroll. What the hell? After seeing Chronoa, Ash suddenly realized that it was the god of time. No wonder it's so outrageous. System, expand the introduction of abilities. Okay. As the system voice fell. Eternal life, I am immortal as long as time is immortal, and I am as old as time. Teleportation, the same as King God, can reach anywhere. Time travel, you can reach any time point in the current timeline. Latitude travel, travel to different time and space, different universes, different worlds. Telekinesis, you can make objects move by silently thinking about them. Time control, can close space-time rifts. Can pause time. Can be resolved if the opponent is too strong. Time scroll, you can manipulate information to modify the timeline, such as merging and repairing. Seeing these abilities, Ash couldn't help but be surprised. It's all about timing. The power of time is basically all here. Ash couldn't help but sigh. Now it's much more convenient to travel. No need to worry about getting lost anymore. I have to say, this ability is really good. After digesting Chronoa's information, Ash silently muttered to herself and replaced it directly. As for the other four, he didn't even look at them. What's so good about 3 whites and 1 blue? Just 1 dandy is okay, it can be treated. But he has the ability of King God Shin. Does he still need this? Go to the warehouse and collect dust. After extracting the template, Ash's expression froze. Now comes the highlight. Main template extraction. This almost determines his future direction. If he's not good at it, he might have to practice it himself. So, it must not be bad. Ash took a deep breath. System, draw the main template. As the words fell, Ash slowly closed her eyes. Boom. The draw was successful. Congratulations to the host for winning Yamoshi. Ash opened his eyes. Yamoshi? Sounds familiar. Next second, Ash's eyes widened as he suddenly thought of something. What the hell? Yamoshi? Isn't this the ancestor of the Saiyans? Not daring to think too much, Ash quickly said, System, check Yamoshi's attributes. Open successfully. Kai Zhao. As soon as the system finished speaking, lines of subtitles suddenly appeared in front of Ash, all about Yamoshi. Page 67. Ash looked closely. Saiyan, Emoshi.bloodline, ancient bloodline. Skills, Ultra Instinct, Ultra Self-Instinct, Space-Time Cage, Meteoric Smash, Emoshi Fist, Ultra Link Flash Background. Born in ancient times, he was the first Saiyan to transform into a Super Saiyan. Later, due to his dominance over multiple universes and his role as Omni-King, he was suppressed by the first High Priest. Character performance. Created his own Ultra Instinct, pioneered the first Super Saiyan path, mastered divine duties, and after battling the angels, he developed a unique angelic power. Character evaluation. Born to fight, died to fight, fought his whole life. The Saiyan bloodline is glorious because of him. He alone raised the upper limit of the Saiyan bloodline. After reading about Yamoshi's attributes, Ash was stunned for a moment before slowly uttering 2 words. Brilliant. This is really awesome. The first Super Saiyan. Self-created Ultra Instinct. Rule over multiple universes. He became the king of all, mastered the priesthood, and after fighting with angels, he condensed another kind of angelic power. Raised the upper limit of Saiyan bloodline. Each of these feats, taken alone, is enough to make one invincible in the world. But it all converged in one person. You can imagine how outrageous it is. P.S. Please give me some money and votes. Exclamation, 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 exclamation. Chapter 54. Go to Red's location with Tacy. Subscribe. After calming down, Ash then said softly, bind it. Okay host, I'll still give you 5% for the first binding. The system's sound came. Ash only felt her body straighten and become comfortable, and then she gained some more abilities. Call out. At the same time, a tail suddenly appeared behind him. Ash's expression remains unchanged. This is normal. It would be abnormal for the first Cyan to nod of a tail. Then, Ash observed her body. The combat power has reached 10. There are also several skills and a transformation. Yamoshi Boxing and Super Saiyan 4. System, how is Yamoshi's progress increasing? Ash was a little confused. Goja needed a specific plot to advance, so what about Yamoshi? Just fight against the strong. The stronger the opponent, the more you gain. System sound came. Ash said slowly, a battle between strong ones? Pan. Looks like I have to take the initiative to find someone to fight. He has never taken the initiative to fight with others. The Saiyan's bellicosity doesn't seem to have much effect on him. Ash guessed that it might be because of his past life experience. This allowed him to suppress the fighting spirit within him, but this moment is different. He could feel that he was very belligerent now. It seemed as if his blood was beating all the time. He felt uncomfortable if he didn't move his body. The corners of Ash's mouth twitched slightly. Was she poisoned? At this moment, he could finally intuitively understand Sun Wukong's feelings. It's really uncomfortable if I don't fight. The belligerent factor. Ash went out and flew towards the Zidu Capsule Company. Since we need to fight, then fight now. He wanted to ask Ties where the edge of the North Milky Way was that he saw last time. Instead of waiting for Reg to come to Earth, it is better to take the initiative to find Reg yourself. We'll have a fight sooner or later anyway. Arriving at Bulma Capsule Company, Ash gently pressed the doorbell a few times. Not long after, a tall and lovely woman came out. Ties. Tacy smiled when she saw the person coming. Ash. Hello, Ties. Ash smiled. Tacy smiled and said, Hello, Ash. This is the second time we've met. She paused. Who are you looking for? Looking for you. I? Tacy was stunned and pointed at herself, a little confused. Ash nodded. Well, there's something I want to ask you. Taze was a little confused, but she still made room for him. Come in and sit for a while, and we'll talk slowly. Ash nodded and did not refuse, following Tacy into the house. As soon as they entered the house, a luxurious atmosphere hit them. Ash sighed. It was indeed the home of the richest man. Ash followed behind Tacy and took a look at her outfit. Ties wore a deep blue top with a white lace-pleated skirt. It exudes youthful vitality, which matches her personality very well. Ash's eyes moved downwards, and a pair of white, plump, slender, and crystal-clear legs came into view. That's really good, okay? Tacy turned around and asked in confusion, What's really good? Ash looked calm and nonchalant as she looked at the scroll on the wall. I think this painting is really good. Tacy looked over and smiled. It's really good. This is a painting by a master. Coming to the sofa, Tacy asked Ai Zai to sit down first, and then she went to prepare tea. After pouring the tea, Tacy then asked, Can you tell me now? Aixi, what do you want to talk to me about? Her tone was flat, with a hint of alienation. Ash was a little confused, but didn't care. I want you to take me to the place where you met Reg last time. Halfway through her words, Tacy's face changed and she said reluctantly, No, I don't want to go there. Ash looked at her and said seriously, I just need you to lead the way. You don't have to go with me to where Reg is. While Thighs was silent. After a moment, she nodded helplessly. Okay, then you have to protect me, no problem. Ash's mouth corners turned up and he smiled. Next, Ash and Ties set out together to the edge of the universe where Reg was. Since Ties cannot survive in space, Ash can only travel with her on a spaceship. Although it's a bit slow, at least there is a beautiful woman by my side. The journey was long, and more than 10 hours passed quickly. Ash lay on the bench with her eyes closed. The sound of dripping water came from the side, and Tacy was taking a bath. Through the glass door, I can vaguely see a blurry figure. Ai's eye clicked her tongue. Is Tacy so big? After a while, the sound of flowing water stopped. Tacy came out wearing a bathrobe, with wisps of steam emanating from her body and water stains on her jade feet. Her cheeks were slightly red. Sorry, it took so long to wash. You can go wash now. When Ash looked over, what caught her eye was a pair of long, white, crystal clear legs and a pretty, lovely face. Ash smiled and said, "It's okay." Ash walked into the bathroom and saw all kinds of facilities. Nothing was missing. It really is true. Although the sparrow is small, it has all the organs. This is Ty's exclusive spaceship, which was specially made for her by Bulma. It has a sci-fi style and a hint of girlishness. There is no gravity room like Goku and Vegeta. Ash took off her clothes and was about to turn on the shower. When I turned my head, I saw a few pieces of clothes on the washing machine next to me. Panties with lace. There is still warmth. It should be that it was just taken off and didn't run away. Ash would naturally not be so perverted as to steal other people's underwear and put it in the washing machine to wash it automatically. Ashley started taking a bath. Page 68. Outside the house, Tacy dried her hair and then went to the wardrobe to change her clothes. She spread her hands and her bathrobe fell down. A tall and graceful figure with a curvy figure was revealed. Ty admired her appearance in the mirror and smiled gorgeous. Then she began to look for clothes. But after searching carefully several times, she still couldn't find what she wanted. Tacy frowned and said, "That's strange. I saved a lot of them, but why are all of them gone?" Helplessly, she could only put on a piece of clothing that she thought was more tight. "I hope Ash can't see it soon." Ash came out after washing. He took a quick shower and was done in less than 10 minutes. After coming out, I saw Tacy heating up the food. The food on the spacecraft is all pre-prepared and only needs to be heated slightly before eating. Although the taste is not half of the original, it is still very good. But what else do you want in a spaceship? Some food and drink notes would be fine. You're all right. Come and have dinner. When Tacy saw Ash, a smile appeared on her face. Ash smiled, "Okay." Then his eyes turned to Tacy, who was wearing a white t-shirt and a pair of ultra-short jeans. Ash looked a little strange. Is Tacy so cheerful? Without thinking too much, Ash walked straight over. "P.S. Thank you for your votes. Thank you everyone for your votes." Chapter 55, Ash vs. Ty's encountering a super 4-star planet. Subscribe. Full of wine and food. The two of them sat on the ground, chatting intermittently. Feelings also heated up rapidly at this moment. Because the heater is on in the house. Tacy's cheeks flushed slightly. "Ash, what kind of girls do you like?" Ash smiled. "You are like this." Ty's was silent. Then she frowned slightly and gave Ash a vicious look. "Is that how you won the hearts of No? 18 and No? 21. Ash shook his head. "Of course not." Tacy snorted coldly. "HMPH, don't even think about getting me on your pirate ship. There's no way I'll be with you." Ash looked regretful and sighed. "Is that so?" Hey. Ash looked melancholy and lost. Tacy was stunned when she saw this scene. "Did I say too much?" After hesitating for a moment, he said, "It's not impossible." The corners of Ash's mouth rose slightly, but she pretended to be surprised. "Really?" Tacy said nothing and remained silent. "Does he really want to? Should I agree to it?" To be honest, her first impression of Ash was very good. But later we learned that Ash was actually with No. 18 and that there was an apprentice, No. 21, living at home. Although she didn't know whether this apprentice was real or not, she lived under the same roof with Ash and she was so beautiful. She didn't believe it wasn't eaten clean. All in all, she had begun to give up the idea since she learned that Ash had a family. But now, while we were chatting, why did he get obsessed with Ash again? Tacy shook her head violently, forcing herself to wake up. Then she slowly stood up and said, "It's too late. We should rest." Her body was shaky and she was a little unsteady when she stood up. Ash quickly stepped forward. "You are drunk. Let me help you." Tacy quickly shook her head. "No, I can do it myself." As she spoke, she staggered towards her room. Just as I was passing by the bathroom door crack, because Tacy's center of gravity was unstable. She fell forward uncontrollably. What ruined? Tacy was so upset that she almost cried because she stepped on the water stains left by her bath. Harming yourself, call out. Ash suddenly appeared in front of her and hugged Ties, who was about to fall. The big hand was placed on Tacy's waist. Tacy leaned in Ash's arms, and the broad chest of the man behind her made her face flush and her heart beat fast. Thank you. Tacy lowered her head and whispered softly. Ash smiled, said nothing, and muttered in her heart. Replace Cronoa with unknown. Next second, a layer of pink suddenly appeared on his hands, a color that only he could see. Charm hand. All of a sudden, Tacy's whole body trembled suddenly, and a blush appeared on her face. What a strange feeling. Finished. Tacy looked doubtful about her life. Ash noticed her strangeness, and the corners of his mouth rose slightly. Since ancient times, deep love cannot be retained, only routines can win people's hearts. Ash asked with concern, "What's wrong with you?" Tacy shook her head and whispered, "It's okay." Ash said, "Let me carry you back." Immediately, under Tacy's shocked gaze, he picked her up by the waist. Well, again. Tacy looked desperate. Why? After carrying Tacy into the house and gently placing her on the bed, Ashley said, "Are you feeling better?" And the moment Ash's hand left, Ty suddenly felt that the strange feeling disappeared. Tacy pursed her lips, feeling a little lost. Then she nodded gently, "Much better." And Ash nodded. "Then I'll go out." Immediately, Ash turned around and left without hesitation. Seeing this, Tacy quickly said, "Don't go." Ash looked over in confusion. Tacy lowered her head, her face flushed with shame, and she felt a little embarrassed. "Can you stay with me for a while?" Ash smiled and found a bench to sit on, of course. Next, the two chatted for a while, but it was all about some daily interesting things. Tacy was silent for a moment, then asked shamefully, "Can you touch me?" After saying this, Ty suddenly felt like she was walking on pins and needles, as if she was being roasted on a fire. "What did I say? I am so unlike myself today." Ash raised her brows slightly. "Is this charm hand so powerful?" Immediately, Ash nodded and smiled. "Sure, where do you feel uncomfortable? I'll help you massage it." Ty's breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Ash didn't notice. Tacy said, "My stomach." Ash nodded, and then placed her hand with a pink halo on Ty's flawless white belly, which looked like a work of art. "Rub gently." While Ty's closed her eyes tightly, her eyelashes trembling slightly. Page 69. She grabbed Ash's hands with both of her own. "Don't leave." I don't know how long it took. The next day, when I woke up again, it was already the next day. Tacy suddenly woke up and looked around, looking to the side. Really, there was a figure lying beside him, and he was naked. Tacy felt like crying but had no tears to cry, but she had no way to complain. After all, she was the one who wouldn't let Ash leave, but we can't just let it go like this. Tacy pushed the figure beside her hard. "Ash, wake up. Wake up." Ash had woken up a long time ago, and seeing Tacy changing her expression alone on the screen, he didn't disturb her. Ash slowly opened her eyes and saw a holy light. "What's wrong?" Seeing the other person staring at her, Tacy's face instantly turned red with embarrassment, and she quickly picked up the quilt to cover her body. "Don't look." Ash smiled and said, "No need to hide it. It's not like I haven't seen it before." Tacy blushed and said, "You request flowers." Ash stepped forward gently and held her in his arms. "I will take responsibility. Listen to the sound coming from your ear." Tacy's restless mood immediately disappeared. She buried her head in Ash and whispered softly, "Okay." Ash felt his heart melt instantly. "Cute." He gently pushed Tacy away, and under her puzzled gaze, he smiled and said, "You are actually a legal couple. Is it okay now?" Ty's cheeks flushed and she nodded slightly. Ah, it was already evening when the two appeared again. Although there is no sun to distinguish between morning and evening, but the two still did not give up their living habits. Tacy looked out the window, her brows raised slightly. Ash, look at that planet outside, it's so strange. As she spoke, she pointed. Okay. Ash was stunned for a moment, then came closer and looked at the planet she was talking about. After seeing the appearance of the planet, Ash's eyes lit up. This planet is huge, even more than 10 times larger than the Earth. Zero, the planet, is gray-brown in color, covered with craters, has a harsh climate, and is not suitable for human habitation. However, Ash, who was familiar with the plot of Dragon Ball, saw it at a glance. This is the Super Dragon Ball, the 4-star ball. It is also the martial arts arena used by the 6th and 7th universes for competition. Unexpectedly, he ran into him. Bah! Ash kissed Tacy. This is the Super Dragon Ball, thanks to you. Super Dragon Ball. Tai didn't care about Ash's kiss at all. After all, they had kissed her countless times. What she was confused about was the Super Dragon Ball. Ash smiled and said, "Move the spaceship over." Tacy nodded. Yeah. Then he operated the spacecraft's control device, causing the high-speed moving spacecraft to change direction in a flash, flying towards the desolate planet below. After landing, Ash released the power of God and wrapped ties to prevent her from being unable to withstand the harsh environment here. Call out. A strong wind blew. Tacy looked at Ash with a puzzled look on her face. Is this the Super Dragon Ball? As Bulma's sister, she is naturally familiar with this thing. She has also seen Dragon Ball. But how does this look like Dragon Ball? Ash smiled. Don't worry. Then, Ash took out a universal capsule and put the spaceship inside. Then he hugged Tacy and slowly flew up. Ash said calmly, "Next, it's time to witness a miracle." Done. Ash raised one hand, her eyes narrowed slightly, and she growled. Aha! In an instant, a terrifying energy condensed from his hands and gradually formed a terrifying wind force. This is Kai. He was going to use his Kai to blow away all the dirt attached to the surface of the Super Dragon Ball, that is, the clods of earth formed by meteorites. Boom! Exclamation, exclamation, PS. Thank you for the votes. Please give me some votes. There will be more later. Buon. Chapter 56. Zianba, Bardos. Subscribe. As Ash's aura surged, an incomparably powerful energy emerged from his body. Just a moment. The soil formed by the meteorite accumulation was immediately blown away. It was clearly visible that a dazzling ray of light like the sun radiated out, illuminating the entire dark starry sky. A dragon ball encompassing 4 stars emerges. This is, surprisingly, the Super 4-star planet. Seeing this scene, Tacy couldn't help but gasp. Her pupils shrank slightly, and her pretty face was full of shock. This is the Super Dragon Ball? No wonder she was shocked. This Dragon Ball was dozens of times bigger than the Earth she lived on. What on earth could be so big as to be eaten? Ash nodded. Yes, this is the Super 4-star star. Ties still couldn't hide her disbelief. So, there are 7 Dragon Balls in the universe just like the ones on Earth. She paused. Can it also summon a dragon and grant a wish, just like the Dragon Balls on Earth? Ash nodded. Yes, the Super Dragon Balls are rumored to grant any wish. His Stacy's pretty face was full of shock. Today she had really broadened her horizons. With such a big Super Dragon Ball, how big would the Super Dragon be if it was summoned? She couldn't imagine if 7 palm-sized 087 Dragon Balls can summon such a powerful dragon. Then the Super Dragon Ball that is as big as a supernova can summon a super dragon that can devour the universe, right? Thinking of this, Ties shuddered. Ash patted her shoulder and said, "Don't worry. Most people can't collect a Super Shenlong. It's not only hard to find, but also time-consuming and laborious. Even if you find it, you still need to use the language of the gods to make a wish. It's a thankless task." Hear the words. Tacy finally breathed a sigh of relief. It would be terrible if someone used it to do bad things. Ash, what should we do with this Super Dragon Ball? Just leave it like this? Tacy looked at Ash and asked. Ash raised her eyebrows slightly and took a look at the super dragon ball. It was so big that it was indeed difficult to take away. After thinking for a moment, Ashley said, "Find a place to hide it, mark it, and come back to get it next time." After saying that, Ash used her telekinesis to gather the meteorites from the surrounding universe, covered them on the Super Dragon Ball, and left a coordinate to finish the job. Currently, there are only a handful of people in the universe who have the means to find the Super Dragon Balls. He wasn't worried about being found. Ash clapped his hands, looked at his masterpiece, and smiled, finished. Ty's mouth dropped open slightly. She had witnessed Ash clearing away the meteorites and then piling them up again. Is this really something humans can do? Ash patted her and said with a smile, "Okay, don't be surprised. Let's go. We will try to reach the edge of the universe as quickly as possible." Tacy came back to her senses. Her pretty face flushed slightly, and she glared at Ash in dissatisfaction. "Just leave. Don't touch me." Ash smiled and said, "Have you forgotten how you begged me?" Tacy's cheeks flushed redder and she lowered her head and whispered angrily, "Forget it." Then, Ash released the spaceship from the universal capsule. The two walked into the spaceship, and after tinkering with it for a while, the spaceship started again and sped towards the space ahead. In the blink of an eye, countless light years have passed in situ. Shortly after the two left. Call out. Page 70. Two figures suddenly appeared out of thin air in the starry sky. The two people who came here looked and dressed somewhat similar to Beerus and Wise, the god of destruction and the angel, but the difference is the god of destruction here is very fat, short, and obese. It looks incredibly funny. Angels are tall and thin, with a tight figure, well-proportioned curves, and a cool temperament. The bluish-purple skin gives it an exotic and mysterious beauty. The people who came were none other than Xianpa and Bardos, the god of destruction and angel of Universe 6. Looking at the space ahead, Bardos smiled and said calmly, "Master Xianpa, it seems we are a step too late. The person has already left." As she spoke, she shook her head and sighed. "It's all because you're too fat, Master Xianpa. That's why you came so slowly." Xianpa was immediately displeased when he heard this and said angrily, "Bardos, how dare you say that? Who told you to chase me off halfway?" Bardos looked dissatisfied and said, "Ah, good people really don't get good rewards. Isn't this all for your health? I was thinking of giving you some exercise and some walking around and you're blaming me. How rude." Xianpa's face turned dark. He kept complaining about my figure every day. I'm really fed up with it. Xianpa snorted coldly, "Stop talking nonsense. Where is the wishing ball? Didn't you just say it was here?" After hearing this, Bardos stopped teasing him and smiled as he looked at the planet in front of him that was made up of meteorites. He said lightly, "It's right in front of us." Xianpa was stunned for a moment, then looked at the planet in front of him, frowning. "Bardos, are you kidding me? Does this look like a wishing ball?" Bardos shook his head and sighed. "Ah, Lord Xianpa doesn't just have a problem with his body, he has a problem with his brain too." Xianpa's face turned blue with anger. "Stop talking nonsense and speak quickly." Bardos said helplessly, "Master Xianpa, does it look like a normal planet to you?" Xianpa was stunned. "What do you mean? You've destroyed so many planets and you can't even see this." Bardos looked at him as if he were a fool. After saying that, Bardos held the scepter lightly in her jade hand, rotated it once, and then aimed it at a planet in front. Boom! In an instant, a mysterious force swept away all the meteorites attached to the surface of the planet in front. The light of the Super 4-star radiated in all directions. Xianpa's face lit up with joy, "So it's hidden in the meteorite pile." He looked at Bardos with an impatient look in his eyes. "Hurry, Bardos, take it." Bardos nodded gently. "Master Xianpa, please be patient." Immediately, she waved the scepter again, and the Super 4-star ball in front of her suddenly turned into a ray of light and fell into her scepter. Saw this scene. Xianpa's mouth curled up in inexplicable excitement. "Great, this is the 5th one. I'll have 7 soon." Bardos smiled faintly. "Yes. After the excitement, Ziampa suddenly looked in one direction, his eyes narrowed slightly. Bardos, someone just moved the super dragon balls here. Maybe we can find the rest by following him. After saying this, he felt that his analysis was correct. Ziampa looked very proud. That must be the case. Let's go. Bardos shook his head and reminded Master Ziampa, you have to think carefully. This is not the sixth universe. The implication is that you can find the super dragon balls, but you can't break the rules. This is the area under Beerus' jurisdiction, and they should not touch the people in the other party's area no matter what. It's okay if you just missed it, but it's not okay to keep chasing after someone. If you get caught by Beerus, you'll be on your own. Ziampa was stunned. He naturally understood what Bardos meant. But after hesitating for a moment, he waved his hand and said, Tesk, what are you afraid of? We are just asking him for the coordinates of the super dragon ball. We are not going to do anything else, Bardos said calmly. What if he doesn't tell me? Did not say? Dare he not to tell? Ziampa snorted coldly, I am the god of destruction. If you don't tell me, I'll kill him. Bardos curled his lips and said, aren't you still trying to kill someone? Listening to Bardos's reluctance to give in, Ziampa was a little dissatisfied. Bardos, who are you helping? I just want the coordinates of a wishing ball, right? Besides, he's just a human. I can kill him if I want. What can Beerus do if he finds out? After hearing this, Bardos stopped trying to persuade her. Good words can't persuade a damn ghost. Bardos said calmly, well, Lord Ziampa, let's go. Immediately, the two of them turned into a ray of light and flew towards Ash's location at an extremely fast speed. The speed is indescribable, and at the same time the other side. Destroyer. Beerus leaned against a tree, with all kinds of food placed beside him. He ate while enjoying the cool breeze. It's so delicious. What a hard life I've had these past few years. Beerus wanted to cry but had no tears, so he grabbed another handful of food and brought it to his mouth. What? Open your mouth wide, close your eyes and bite down hard. But next second, click, his teeth clashed together. Oh, it hurts so much. Beerus suddenly looked in pain and yelled. He took a look at the packaging bag and there was no food. Beerus was furious. Damn it, it's gone so soon. 5.4 Immediately, he looked up at the sky. Weiss, we're out of pizza, bring another one. Call out. Weiss suddenly paused. Boom! Suddenly, three figures collided with each other. Suddenly there was a howl. Weiss, what are you doing? Why did you suddenly dodge away? Sun Wukong covered his nose with a look of dissatisfaction. Beside him, there are also Gogeta and Broly. Weiss smiled and said, excuse me, Lord Beerus called me. Immediately, his figure slowly flew towards Beerus below. Son Goku rubbed his sore cheek and grumbled, Lord Beerus is such a foodie. Vegeta smiled, Kakarot, if you're going to be ranting about Beerus behind his back, I'll tell him off in a minute. Hear the words. Sun Wukong's expression changed, and he quickly stepped forward. Vegeta, let's talk. Broly stood aside, looking at the two funny guys, and couldn't help but smile. This period of time, the three of them trained together, ate together, drank together, and slept together. Deep friendship has already been established. P.S. Thank you for the votes. Please give me some money and votes. Chapter 57, Reg, the Ancient Scion. Subscribe below. Weiss checked the space inside the scepter. He shook his head with regret. Lord Beerus, what a pity, the pizza is empty. What? Beerus' pupils widened. He said in disbelief, didn't you bring so much? As he spoke, he gestured with his hands. Weiss shook his head. I don't know. Maybe Lord Beerus eats too fast. Beerus shook his head in denial. Impossible, I'm not a pig. His eyes moved, and he looked at the three people in the sky. His eyes narrowed slightly. Tell me, was it eaten by you three? Three people. Seeing the expressions of the three people, Beerus sneered. Okay, it's you guys, wait for me. As he spoke, his figure shot out. Page 71. Boom! Exclamation, exclamation, the earth instantly broke into pieces. Saw the scene. The three people's expressions suddenly changed. Son Goku and Vegeta turned into Super Blue almost instantly, while Broly also turned into an ordinary Super Saiyan. Of course, the three people transformed not to resist. But I want to run. There is no other reason, I just can't beat him. Still wants to run? Then, 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 as three iron fists of justice fell, Beerus shot down the three people in the sky with almost no effort. The three of them lay on the ground, wailing. Beerus snorted coldly. If you dare to steal my food again, it won't be so easy next time. At this moment, a voice was heard. Lord Beerus, please come here quickly, Weiss shouted with a serious expression. 21, what's up? Beerus flew over confused. Weiss narrowed his eyes slightly. Look at this. The words fell. Suddenly, a curtain of light appeared in front of the two of them. After seeing the person inside, Beerus' pupils were shocked. Ash. And the super dragon balls? Weiss continued, there's more to it than that. As he spoke, the light screen sped up several times. Beerus exclaimed, Champa, Bardos. Damn it. Next, the scene played was the two of them putting away the Super 4-star ball. Beerus looked angry and said in a cold tone, all right, you're running wild in my territory. Weiss smiled and said, it can be seen that my sister and Lord Zymba are probably heading towards Ash. Beerus snorted coldly, Weiss, let's go. I want to see how brave Zymba is to come here and act wildly. Weiss shook his head slightly. When I looked at my sister just now, I think she noticed. Beerus said coldly, so what if you found out? You dare to come here and chase me? Do you really think I have no temper? Immediately, the two of them ignored the three people still lying on the ground and left the destroyer planet directly, flying towards Zymba and Bardos. And at the same time, inside the spaceship, Ash stood by the with ties beside her. Tacy sat at the control console and asked the robot beside her, Zyota, how long will it take to reach our destination? Next second, the robot's eyes lit up and it made a crisp sound. We are still 1 trillion kilometers from our destination, the northern galaxy, the Benbai galaxy. We expect to arrive in about 1 minute. Ash was slightly surprised. That's pretty fast. Tacy smiled and said, of course, this is Bulma's latest research. You know, the one that was modified by Vegeta was super fast. Namek, which is 65 light-years away from Earth, was reached in just 5 days. Ash nodded and couldn't help but sigh at the power of scientific genius. This speed not long after. Boom! Exclamation, exclamation, the two drove into a galaxy. And the moment they entered this galaxy, Ash felt it keenly. An extremely strong breath hit me in the face. Ash narrowed his eyes slightly. Is this Reg? He didn't even try to suppress his aura, letting it leak out. This was the first time he had encountered this. Maintain peak condition at all times, release energy throughout the process, and do not conceal your aura at all. Very good. Be brave. Tacy's pretty face was filled with panic. Although she didn't practice cultivation, she had no fighting ability. But I still felt a little palpitation for some reason. It felt like an invisible mountain was pressing down on me, making it hard to breathe. Ash noticed her abnormality and waved his hand. Call out. All of a sudden, an even more powerful aura formed a barrier to resist the encroaching energy. Ties breathed a sigh of relief. Phew, it's really scary. That's why I said I wouldn't dare to do it a second time. Tacy patted her chest and said. Ash said softly, don't worry, I'm here. Boom! The spaceship slowly landed on the ground. We have arrived at Benbai. After saying this, Zyota fell silent. Ash took a look and saw that the magnetic field here was obviously disordered, forcing it to get off the plane. Ash opened the hatch. He walked out slowly, with Ties following closely behind him. What meets the eye is a very desolate land. Nothing at all. Naturally formed sandstorms are everywhere. A gust of wind howled past. A sandstorm suddenly arose. The green hat environment is sparse. It's not habitable at first glance, but overall it's a little better than want a star. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At this moment, several figures approached at an extremely fast speed, flying towards Ash. Ash looked up. In the front was a man with his upper body naked, tall and burly, muscular, and looking very similar to Gogeta. There is a noticeable tail behind it. Reg. And beside him, she is a cyan woman wearing the cyan combat suit. His wife, Supali. As for what's behind him, they should be his two children. On the opposite side, while Ash was looking at them, they were also looking at Ash. Reg narrowed his eyes and stared at Ash. Who are you? Ash. Reg's expression remained unchanged. Are you a cyan? Ash nodded. Yes. Reg didn't say anything, but slowly looked at ties beside Ash. Then his eyes narrowed slightly. You are the one from last time, Ash said calmly. She is my woman and the sister of Vegeta's wife. Reg's expression changed. Vegeta? He didn't care about anyone else at all. He just heard the 3 words Vegeta sharply. These 3 words were like a nightmare, tormenting him all the time. Beside him, Supali's expression was visibly ugly. See, I was right. You shouldn't have let her go last time. She's from Earth after all, and she's Vegeta's wife's sister. Reg was silent for a moment, then said, There's no need to think too much about it now. He stared at the 2 people in front of him. Isn't it delivered to my door now? Hear the words. Ash's expression remained unchanged, with a smile on her lips. Reg's expression was indifferent, and his tone was cold. Since you are related to Vegeta, and you just happened to come to me, then I have no choice but to let you die. Ash said calmly, You can come and try, if you can do it. Reg smiled, and he smiled very happily. Page 72. He was mocking Ash's ignorance. Reg's mouth showed a hint of sarcasm. Although I don't know where you came from, a cyan, but I can tell you one terrible thing. My combat power when I was born was 5. After saying that, he looked at Ash steadily. It seemed as if he wanted to see panic on the other person's face. But he miscalculated. Ash looked calm. Reg frowned, thinking that Ash was pretending to be calm. As a cyan, you should know the horror of being born with a combat power of 5. Ash looked at Ties. You go back first. Tacy nodded slightly. She didn't feel comfortable staying here for a moment. Immediately, Ash 087 took her hand and teleported her back to Earth in situ. Reg's family members' expressions changed. Disappeared. Reg's eldest son, Oren, looked horrified and exclaimed. Reg's expression remained calm, unchanged. This is teleportation luck, isn't it happening again? And as his voice fell, Ash's figure appeared again at the same position. Ash looked at Reg, and Reg was looking at him. Neither side spoke. The atmosphere suddenly became quiet at this moment. Reg stared at Ash. Since you dare to come to me and mention Vegeta, it means you came prepared. But if you came prepared, I think you should know the relationship between me and Vegeta. Ash nodded but said nothing. Reg sneered. I'm Vegeta's biological brother, the Cyan Prince who was labeled a freak at birth. Reg. Ash nodded. I know. Supali's face darkened. Reg, there's no need to waste time talking to him. This guy is looking for trouble and he's Vegeta's brother-in-law. Reg nodded, looked at Ash and said coldly, Ash, that saves me a trip to Earth. You'll be the first to die. Reg had been thinking of going to Earth to seek revenge on Vegeta in the next few days. Unexpectedly, someone came and found him in advance without knowing their own limitations. And aside, Ash frowned slightly. Are you going to fight or not? He keeps nagging. Reg's face was gloomy. He actually complained about him talking too much. Reg didn't say anything, but an extremely wild and primitive aura gushed out from his body. Golden flames rose into the sky. This aura is very domineering, as if it is a power from ancient times. wreaking havoc on everything around. PS. Please give me some money and votes. Chapter 58, Ash vs. Reg. Super Saiyan 4. Subscribe. Saw this scene. Ash's expression was calm, but a hint of excitement flashed in his eyes. He has the Yamoshi template. It's obvious at a glance that Reg is of ancient Saiyan blood, abnormally turbulent and overbearing, but I am the descendant of the ancient ancestor. Boom! Suddenly, a layer of golden aura burst out from Ash's body. What was different from before was that this time the golden aura was deeper, like the light at the center of the sun. Just for a moment. Then he dispersed the aura of Reg that was rushing towards him. And on the opposite side, the moment Ash's aura exploded, Reg's expression suddenly changed. He looked at Ash, feeling uncomfortable all over and having an inexplicable palpitation. It's like looking at our ancestors. Reg's face turned ugly. Damn it, playing tricks. Boom! Exclamation. After he finished speaking, Reg stomped his right foot hard on the ground, and the huge force caused the entire ground beneath his feet to shatter into pieces. Reg himself shot out and rushed straight towards Ash at an unparalleled speed. Ash looked at Reg rushing towards him, took a step forward without hesitation, and wrestled with the other party. Then, sonic booms suddenly sounded in the sky, and countless terrifying shock waves exploded in all directions with the two of them as the center. Suddenly, there was a strong wind, making a rustling sound. The two men fought very quickly. After exchanging punches, they moved away and fought again. Supali and her sons who were watching below were all bewildered. I can't see anything. Supali's face looked grim. She couldn't see anything. All that could be heard was a terrifying explosion in the sky. When she looked over, the person had already disappeared. Orin, can you see clearly? Is it your father who has the upper hand, or that Saiyan? She looked at Orin, her eldest son. Orin shook his head. I can't see it, Mom. Although he is Reg's biological son and is known as a genius, he still can't see anything when facing such a battle at this moment. Hateful. How can that Saiyan be so strong? Supali gritted his teeth. And just as Ash was fighting Reg, in the sky, two figures were also watching secretly. The people who came were Zayinpa and Bados. Zayinpa watched the battle below with a slightly surprised look on his face. Are these two humans so strong? After watching for a moment, Bardos narrowed his eyes and said, Master Zayinpa, these two people are quite important. Zayinpa was stunned and looked at Bardos, wondering, what do you mean? Aren't they just two humans? Bardos shook his head and sighed. You're not happy to be called stupid, Lord Zayinpa. You can't even see that. It's a pity you've lived this long, Zayinpa. Damn it, Bardos, are you ever going to stop? I just don't know what's wrong with me. I'm not king of the gods. Why would I know so much? Zayinpa said angrily. Bardos didn't continue teasing, but said calmly, they are both Saiyan. Zayinpa was stunned. Saiyan? What's so strange about this? He remembers that his universe also has it, right? Bardos stared at the two men below him. These are no ordinary Saiyans. Look at that rough and wild one. He's a Saiyan from ancient times. Look at that handsome one. He has an aura that's a bit like a modern Saiyan, but also a bit of the ancient aura. The words fell. Zayinpa was stunned by what he heard. What and what? What ancient Saiyans? What ancient Saiyans? What is this stuff? Bardos shook his head and sighed. Oh, there's no hope. Zayinpa's face turned ugly, and he said angrily, who cares about the ancient times? I am the god of destruction. I can kill them both with one hand. Bardos nodded and said perfunctorily, yes, Lord Zayinpa, you are the strongest. Zayinpa was silent. He didn't want to pay attention to Bardos. Bardos really pissed him off. Bardos looked at the speechless Zayinpa with a smile on her lips and a relaxed look on her pretty face. She was happy to see Zayinpa angry. Correct. I forgot to remind Champa that Beerus is coming. Bardos seemed to have thought of something. He was about to speak, but seeing the cold Zayinpa, he didn't say anything more. Forget it. Respect Lord Champa. Page 73. Boom. Below. After easily dodging Reg's attack, Ash leaned forward and punched Reg in the stomach, which sank deeply vomit. Reg's pupils shrank and he covered his stomach in pain. So fast. Boom. Before he could catch his breath, Ash rolled sideways again and kicked him in the face with her right foot. Next interest. Reg's face instantly deformed, and his body fell uncontrollably towards the ground below. Boom. Exclamation, exclamation, his body slammed a mountain into pieces, causing it to collapse on top of him. Sky. Ash clenched his fists. He could feel that his fighting power was getting stronger and stronger. It's like there's no limit. Is this the ancient bloodline? Crack. Reg lifted the stone that was pressing on him and stood up with difficulty. Reg looked at Ash with an ugly expression. What a heavy fist, and how fast it was. This person is quite powerful. Reg wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and stared at Ash. You are very strong, but I am a Saiyan who is rarely seen in 1,000 years. He closed his eyes slightly. Next, it's the legendary Super Saiyan. The words fell. His eyes flew open, his fists clenched, and veins bulged on his forehead. He gritted his teeth and shouted angrily. Ha! Waves of roars like thunder came from his throat. Reg's aura surged. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Next interest. A majestic golden flame rose from his feet and shot straight into the sky. Suddenly, strong winds blew around and the ground shook violently. The rocks were blown up thousands of stories high, and the big trees were uprooted not long after. The golden light surrounding Reg slowly dissipated, leaving only a layer of rising jet-like flames. There was flashing lightning all around him. Make a cracking sound. Ash looked at Qian Zhao and saw that Reg had transformed into the fourth form of Super Saiyan. His body is covered in red hair, full of wildness and dominance. It's much better than the ordinary Super 4. At least several dozen times, and unlike ordinary Super Saiyan 4, Reg's hair is dark red. Ash has seen a lot of Super Saiyan 4s, so this can be inferred. Reg looked arrogant. After taking a deep breath, he slowly said, "Sorry for the wait. This is Super Saiyan 4. Although I can use this power in my normal state, generally speaking, it will be stronger after transformation." Reg stared at Ash. Come on. Boom. Exclamation, exclamation. He took a step forward and instantly disappeared from the spot. The speed is unimaginable. In just the blink of an eye, he was in front of Ash and punched her in the face. Exclamation, call out. P.S. Please give me some votes. There will be more later. Chapter 59. Deep Blue Ash, Super 5 Reg. Subscribe. Faced with this extremely fast punch, Ash remained expressionless, did not fight back, and allowed the opponent's fist to hit her. Boom! Exclamation, exclamation. Reg's fist was like a meteorite hitting the earth, waving towards Ash's face with invincible momentum. The fist made close contact with the face. Boom! Ash was sent flying by a punch, smashing several mountains in succession before finally landing on a peak and stopping in situ. Reg looked puzzled. Did he give up resistance? Why is there no sign of resistance at all? Or just can't react? But Reg smiled anyway. It seems that this Saiyan is just so-so. He is no match for Super Saiyan 4. In the sky, Saiyanpa opened his mouth slightly and exclaimed, "Is this a transformation? Why is this aura so wild and domineering?" But what was even more shocking was not this. Saiyanpa looked up at the mountain. That Saiyan was killed instantly by this Saiyan. Bardos touched his round jaw, thought for a moment and said, "It doesn't seem so. I guess he might have taken the punch on purpose." Saiyanpa was stunned. Did you take it on purpose? Is this guy crazy? Take it on purpose? Bardos nodded slightly, considering his usual ease in dealing with it before. It's impossible for him not to be able to handle it. And the other side. Ash supported herself on the wall with one hand and suddenly pulled herself out of the mountain. There was blood at the corner of Ash's mouth. Some scars appeared on her body and her clothes were covered with dust. There were waves of severe pain in my body. The force of Reg's punch just now was extraordinary, and it was obvious that he had crossed the threshold of Zai and arrived in Zai. Even worse, maybe he came to rang, but Ash didn't care about that. He looked slightly excited, raised his hand to wipe the blood from the corner of his mouth, and a smile appeared on his face. His fighting power is skyrocketing in this moment. It has increased from 10 to more than 30,087. And as injuries appeared on his body, his fighting spirit surged like crazy, and S cells were secreted like they were free. At this moment, he is like a walking rational battle maniac. I say rational because at this moment his mind is extremely clear. All kinds of combat ideas pop up in his mind, and all kinds of combat ideas against the enemy flood into his mind. The reason why he is crazy is because his fighting spirit is skyrocketing, and his fighting power is also increasing. Ash pursed her lips. No wonder Saiyans become stronger when near death. So this is where the problem lies. If Broly is an irrational fighting madman, then that is the only way to describe Ash at this moment. A battle maniac whose mind is fully rational and who can still maintain the will to fight. Ash thought of a post from her previous life. If you could choose someone to fight one-on-one, would you choose an irrational terrorist or a rational terrorist with a high IQ? The answer is obvious. No one would be willing to fight against a rational, logical, and terrifying being. This is what Ash is like right now. Forcing down the joy in her heart, Ash looked towards Reg. At this moment, Reg's mouth corners were raised with a smile on his face, full of confidence and arrogance. When Reg saw Ash looking at him, he slowly turned his gaze over. "What? You want to surrender?" Reg said slowly with an arrogant look on his face. Ash smiled faintly. "You take yourself too seriously." The words fell. He took a step forward with his right foot, his body slid out, and suddenly came in front of Reg at lightning speed and punched him. This punch was aimed directly at Reg's vitals, with great force. However, it was this punch. Reg's expression remained unchanged. Too slow. He dodged slightly and easily avoided the attack. Boom! He threw out another punch, and the Super Saiyan 4 fist wind blasted out with a powerful and majestic aura. "Call out. Face this punch." Ash's figure flickered strangely, and her body seemed to be covered by a shadow, very illusory. Reg's attack suddenly missed. Reg looked startled. "What? Doppelganger?" Page 74. Teleport. After image. Reg was full of doubts. But in the next moment, Ash's figure suddenly solidified, her body leaned forward, and she punched out at an extremely fast speed, with a majestic golden aura attached to it. Boom! Exclamation, exclamation. There was a dull thud, and Reg was suddenly punched in the stomach. Reg's face changed slightly, and he felt a slight pain. He looked at Ash in disbelief. What the hell is going on? Why did it suddenly become solid again? At this time, Ash moved again. He flashed like a ghost and swung his fists repeatedly, beating Reg back step by step. Then, Reg's face looked grim. These attacks didn't hurt him, but they were very annoying. It's like being harassed by mosquitoes. I'm very angry, but I can't hit them. Reg gritted his teeth and yelled, "Damn it. Ha boom." Exclamation, exclamation. A violent breath gushed out from his body, blowing Ash away in an instant. Reg's face was grim as he stared at Ashley. "What did you just do?" Ash smiled. No words were spoken. What he just used was the Yamosi boxing technique. False and true, true and false. All you've been fighting for so long, it's time for you to step down. Ash took a deep breath and spoke slowly. He just did it purely to test his guesses and new skills. After the experiment is completed, the real fight begins. He definitely can't defeat Reg's Super Saiyan 4 in his normal state, so he'll use his strongest form next. Exclamation. Reg stared at Ashley. "What did you say?" No answer. Next. Interest. Ash's breath subsided slightly, and the next moment, he clenched his fists tightly, and an extremely powerful divine power gushed out from his body. Boom! Exclamation, exclamation. The entire planet CPFE shook violently at Ash's feet. A layer of deep blue jet-like flames shot up into the sky. At the same time, Ash's hair and eyebrows changed from black to dark blue. The rich and powerful divine power spread in all directions. The majestic and thick golden lightning mysteriously swirled in Ash's aura and flickered around her body. There was a crackling sound of thunder. After turning dark blue, Ash seemed to have noticed something and looked up at the sky sharply. There stood two figures. Changtha and Bardos. When did you come? Ash's expression changed slightly, but she did not lose her composure. Instead, he slowly looked at Reg. You can now transform into your strongest form. Changtha and Bardos, who were watching, were also surprised when they saw Ash looking at them. Was discovered. Changtha was shocked, staring at Ashley, and said in disbelief, so he was hiding his true abilities just now? No, how can he master the power of God? Still such a majestic divine power. Changtha's face looked grim. He couldn't believe it. He was clearly a weak human being just now. How come this moment becomes so powerful? Even he couldn't figure out how strong this divine power was. Bardos narrowed his eyes slightly. Master Changtha, this scion is really not simple. First it was the ancient aura and the inexplicable boxing technique just now, and now it has turned into a form that controls the power of God. After a moment's silence, Bardos said slowly, Master Changtha, he might be stronger than you. Changtha's face turned ugly and he said hurriedly, Bardos, are you kidding me? How can a human like him be stronger than me? But his slightly trembling face still betrayed him. He is panicking, and at the same time, after seeing Ash turn dark blue, Reg's brows never relaxed and remained tightly furrowed. What form is this? He had never seen it before. Moreover, he had no idea how strong Ash was at the moment and could not detect any breath at all. Weird. Reg's face was gloomy. What form are you in? Why can't I sense any presence? Ash said calmly, deep blue. You can't feel it because this is the power of God. Dark blue? The power of God. All unfamiliar words. Reg's face was as gloomy as water. He was not stupid. Although he could not feel Ash's aura at the moment, judging from the oppressive feeling the other party gave him, she was definitely not weak. Reg stared at Ash. Very good. Next, I will use my full strength. Ash's eyes moved slightly. Come on. Reg slowly closed his eyes, spread his hands down, and all the aura around him was restrained at this moment. Next moment. Boom! Reg's eyes suddenly opened, his fists clenched suddenly, and veins bulged on his forehead. Hollow roars came from his throat, shaking the earth. Reg's body was wrapped in a powerful aura, and at this moment his aura experienced a tremendous surge. Boom! Exclamation! The ground suddenly cracked, and a violent energy raged from his body, gushing out in all directions. A jet of silver flame suddenly rose from the ground beside his feet, with lightning swirling around it. There was a crackling sound of thunder. At this moment, Reg's hair became longer, reaching his waist, and the color of his hair also changed from black to the current silver white. His pupils and eyebrows also turned silver white, and the fur on his body and tail also turned from the deep red of Super Saiyan 4 to silver white. Reg took a deep breath and slowly looked at Ash. This is Super Saiyan 5. Ash narrowed her eyes slightly. This Super Saiyan 5 is indeed extremely strong. It is much stronger than the Super Saiyan 4 he just had. The aura has increased by at least hundreds or even thousands of times. Outrageous. P.S. Please give me some money. Chapter 60, Super 5 Full Power, Reg's Big Bang Attack. Subscribe and aside. Changtha, who saw the whole scene, opened his mouth wide and his face was full of disbelief. Again transformed again. Changtha looked confused and seemed to be doubting his life. How many times has this happened today? How come these two Saiyans keep transforming, and after transforming they become stronger each time? Changtha looked at Ash and Reg and said in a deep voice, Bardos, one of them is Ultraman, and the other is Super Saiyan 5. What are their forms? Bardos narrowed his eyes slightly. Let me guess, they are the original Saiyan form and the God Power Saiyan form. Changtha looked at Bardos. Who is stronger? Bardos shook his head. I don't know, but between the two of them, I think the one called Ash is stronger. Changtha was stunned. Why? I think Super 5 is stronger. Bardos said calmly. Master Zyanba, don't you consider their normal combat power at all? Ash's normal combat power is obviously stronger. Wouldn't it be a complete crushing blow against Super Saiyan 5? Zyanba looked puzzled. I'm talking about Super Saiyan 5 and Super Saiyan Blue. Bardos shook his head slightly. I don't know about that. After all, this thing has to consider its normal strength. Zyanba nodded. That's true. After saying that, he continued to eat melon and watch. But at this moment, a bone-chilling voice sounded in his ears. Zyanba, you are quite analytical. A smile spread across Zyanpa's face, and he said without hesitation, of course, I know everything about this. Humph, Zyanpa, you won't even blush when you brag now. Beerus said coldly. Page 75. After hearing this, Zyanpa finally reacted and turned around to look. I saw a figure standing behind him. Beerus. Zyanpa looked at Beerus and beads of sweat appeared on his face. Beerus, why are you here? Beerus snorted. Can't I come to my place? Zyanpa smiled awkwardly. Of course. Beerus stared at Champa and said, Tell me, what do you want to do in Universe 7? Zyanpa's breathing stopped. It was over. Was he exposed again? Zyanpa turned his head and looked at Bardos angrily, with unspeakable anger on his face. Damn it, Bardos. Wouldn't you have informed me in advance? Zyanpa laughed awkwardly. Nothing to do. Just came here to have fun. Beerus sneered. For fun? Just trying to steal my Super Dragon Balls for fun? How come you chased me here? After saying that, Beerus looked down. After Zyanpa was left behind, he felt his heart sink. He hadn't expected Beerus to wake up. Damn it, don't you usually sleep in? Seeing that the truth was revealed, Zyanpa stopped pretending. Immediately, he snorted coldly. What's wrong with just stealing and chasing? Skinny monkey. Beerus's face instantly turned pale. What did you say? Zyanpa said stubbornly. What can you do to me? Beerus took a deep breath, suppressed the anger in his heart, and said slowly, Just wait. His gaze left Zyanpa and looked towards Ash below. He noticed the situation on Ash's side the first time. Beerus narrowed his eyes and looked at Ash. Last time it was sky blue, this time it's dark blue. He was shocked by Ash's improvement. She wasn't so strong the last time he fought her, right? It's only been a short time, and there have been so many changes. His gaze moved towards Reg again, and the moment he saw Reg clearly, Beerus's expression changed slightly. This guy's this Super Saiyan 5? Beerus mused. Pretty strong. And below. See this scene. Supali looked surprised. Great, Reg has become a Super Saiyan 5. Oren and the others were excited. We can see Dad's Super Saiyan 5 again. I wonder how long that Ash can last. The other son, Kyulin, was filled with pride. Needless to say, I'm sure you can't survive a single blow. Dad's Super 5 is not to be underestimated. Back to Ash and Reg. Ash looked at the Super Saiyan 5 in front of her. He thought of one thing. In the plot, Son Gohan, Son Goku and others put a lot of thought into transforming into Super Saiyan 5. It can only last for a while and the side effects are huge. But seeing Reg, Ash found that the other party didn't seem to have any concerns in this regard. Reg's breathing was steady, his face was calm, and he didn't seem to be feeling any discomfort. Ash thought about it. This must be the Saiyan blood at work. It takes almost no effort for the atavistic bloodline to transform into a Super Saiyan, but for ordinary Saiyans, it is extremely difficult to break through to a certain level. At the same time, Reg stared at Ash with an arrogant look on his face, grinning as he said, No one has ever survived in this form of mine. The voice just fell. His figure flashed out like a bolt from the blue, rushing towards Ash, so fast that it seemed like teleportation. Reg was surrounded by silver-white aura, his fists clenched tightly, and with unstoppable momentum, he punched towards Ash. Boom! Boom! Suddenly, Ash raised her right hand to block the opponent's incoming fist. The wind from his fist still carries the domineering and wildness that a Saiyan should have. Ash looked calm. Although your Super 5 is very strong, the one I met today is me. Boom. Exclamation, exclamation. There was only a dull crashing sound. In an instant, Ash's fist sank deep into Reg's stomach, sinking deep into it, as if punching through a clear feeling of pain came. Reg's expression suddenly changed. His internal organs seemed to be shattered. He lowered his head in disbelief. How is this possible? Then, then, Ash leaned forward, approaching Reg, and with lightning speed, she threw countless punches again. It was like an impenetrable rain, hitting every part of Reg's skin. Reg's face looked grim, and he screamed in pain. Beerus' pupils shrank slightly. Ash is indeed much stronger than last time. The layman looks at the excitement, and the insider looks at the doorway. Beerus knows Ash's strength best. Bardos stroked his crystal-clear chin and mused. Both of their forms are very powerful. As I said, it's hard to tell which one is stronger, but if we were to categorize them, there's no doubt that Ash crushes Reg. As she spoke, she slowly shifted her gaze towards Zyampa. Her eyes narrowed. I think he can even defeat Lord Zyampa. Zympa's face darkened, but surprisingly he did not refute. He also felt that he might not be able to beat Ash. But, can you please stop using me as an example? Bardos. Zyampa looked at Bardos angrily. Boom! Ash punched Reg's body, and a deep blue flame surged out from his fist and poured into Reg's body. Ash raised both hands suddenly. Reg's pupils shrank, and his body was uncontrollably held in the sky. Fry. Ash's eyes narrowed and he shouted. Boom! Exclamation, exclamation. In an instant, a violent explosion sounded, and Reg's whole body exploded from top to bottom. Resonance explosion. This is exactly Goge's move. When used in the hands of Ash, who has now crossed the threshold of the God of Destruction, it is like an ordinary person being hit by a nuclear bomb. Amazing attack power. Use cannons to kill mosquitoes. Call out. When the smoke cleared, Reg was left in a disastrous state, his body covered in wounds of all sizes, and blood trickling from his mouth. Reg stared at Ash with a ferocious look on his face. Impossible, impossible. Zero, he couldn't believe it. If he uses the legendary Super Saiyan 5, he won't be able to touch even a hair of Ash. Ash looked at him and said slowly, one last move, end the battle, the last resort. End of the fight? Are you kidding me? Reg's face turned ugly and he shouted angrily. I'm the proudest of the Saiyans. How could I be defeated so easily? Take this move from me. Reg's expression was ferocious, and he roared loudly. The sound resounded through the sky and was like thunder. Reg clenched his fists and roared. How? The silver-white aura emanating from his body suddenly surged again at this moment. Boom! Exclamation, exclamation. With a loud bang, Reg's aura surged like a rocket again. The silver-white aura was extremely terrifying, as if it wanted to tear everything apart. This energy was like a catastrophic gale, blowing away everything present. The planet under your feet is cracking inch by inch, and magma is gushing out along the cracks. The planet also trembled violently at this moment. This is Super Saiyan 5 full power. Page 76. Reg clasped his hands together and aimed at Ash with a ferocious look on his face. Big explosive Qigong wave. Silver-white energy gathered from his hands, and in an instant it shone brightly. The terrifying energy gathered together. It was extremely terrifying. His Zyampa Feipiao shuddered and gasped. Today, he witnessed a powerful battle, and it was fought by humans. At this moment, Reg's aura is at least close to the level of a candidate god of destruction. Beerus crossed his arms, glanced at Champa, and said sarcastically, You're not scared, are you? Zympa's face changed, and he pretended to be calm and said, What a joke. I am the god of destruction. You're scared by watching two humans fighting? How is that possible? Bardos covered his mouth and smiled, but Lord Zyampa, please don't tremble. Zyampa was instantly furious and turned around and shouted, Bardos, don't talk nonsense. How could I be shaking? P.S. Thank you all for your votes. Go on. Chapter 61. instantly defeating Reg. The shocking difference in combat power. Subscribe. Ash looked calmly at the opponent's terrifying energy wave. His eyes were as calm as water, without the slightest ripple. The moment he used Deep Blue, the battle was actually over. There is a world of difference between 10 grooves and 9 grooves. It is no exaggeration to say that Ash can beat hundreds or even thousands of Regs at this moment. Opposite. Reg stared at Ashley. Let's see how you respond. Boom! Exclamation immediately. He pushed his hands forward suddenly, and the devastating Kigum explosion wave was directly sent out by him. He roared towards Ash with overwhelming force. Looking at the approaching energy bomb, Ash had a calm expression and slowly stretched out an arm. Blue energy suddenly appeared, and a dazzling energy wave condensed in Ash's hand. But it was just an ordinary energy wave. Reg's face looked grim. Was he looking down on him? Even the waves are wrong. No, 087 is a wave. But it's too small. Is it enough to fill the gaps between your teeth? Reg's face turned pale. In that case, then you can die. Ash smiled, and a wave of energy poured out from her hand, directly hitting Reg's huge explosion attack. Boom! Exclamation immediately. At this moment, the seemingly insignificant energy wave collided with Reg and was not at all inferior. Still pressing forward steadily saw this scene. Reg's pupils widened. He thought of countless possible outcomes, but this was the only one he hadn't expected. The opponent would use an inconspicuous energy wave to push back his full-strength attack. Reg's face turned grim, and he once again poured out all the energy in his body. Supali slowly closed her eyes. She didn't expect that even after Reg transformed into Super Saiyan 5, he still couldn't do anything to Ash. For now, she could only pray. Reg can win, however. To her disappointment, the imagined scene did not happen. Ash's energy wave, with its overwhelming force, instantly shattered Reg's full-strength attack and hit Reg directly. The huge roar resounded through the sky like thunder piercing the ears. Oren's face turned grim. Mom, Dad lost. Ash waved away the stars in her hand, looking at the thick fog ahead. Judging from his breath, Reg was no longer able to struggle, but adhering to the premise of worrying about smoke without causing any harm, he quietly waited for the smoke to dissipate. Not long after, the smoke slowly dissipated. Ash took a closer look. At this moment, Reg had returned to normal. His body was covered with scars, his breath was weak, he was gasping for breath, and he stood there with difficulty. Saw the scene. The corners of Ash's mouth slightly raised. System rewards also follow. Congratulations to the host for successfully defeating Saiyan Reg's Super Saiyan 5 full power. Yamoshi's progress increased by 10%. Ash raised her brows slightly. Only 10% to defeat Reg? So little. Because Reg's strength is far from that of the host, the reward is relatively small. System's sound came. Ash's expression remained unchanged. All right. It seems I still need to find someone stronger to fight. Ash turned her head and glanced at Zyampa. And in the sky, Zyampa was staring at Ash, and the next second he saw Ash suddenly looking at him. That look seems a bit malicious. Zyampa's face changed. Could it be that this guy wanted to hit him? No. Absolutely not. A bean-sized bead of sweat suddenly appeared on Zyampa's face in situ. Ash had no idea that her glance would cause such a huge reaction to Zyampa. He is currently checking his personal attributes. Host, Ash. Combat power, 268. Bloodline, ancient bloodline. Skills, air dance, Kaioken, final Kamehameha wave, soul punisher, divine punishment, Emoshi fist, ultra link flash main template, Emoshi unlock progress, 15% subtemplate, Granoa unlocked alternative template, Kaishin Shin, unknown. Then the progress has reached 15%, and the increase in combat power is not significant. Ash was a little confused, so she added an ultimate combo flash and spent 10%. But the next moment, Ash's eyes suddenly lit up. Not. He could feel that he seemed to have mastered a new form. Super Saiyan 4 connects to the power of God. This form has both the domineering feeling of Super Saiyan 4 and the mysterious beauty of divine power. It can be said that it is both good-looking and powerful. Opposite. Reg's wife and sons rushed over, quickly helped Reg up and took care of him. Reg's face was as gloomy as water. He didn't expect this. My full strength was easily destroyed by other. Zorn looked at Reg, clenched his fists, and gritted his teeth. Dad, I'll do it. Reg shook his head. I can't even beat him. What's the point of you going up there? Supali's face turned grim. What should we do? We lost. Reg stood up and looked at Ash. Don't be afraid. If he wants to kill us, I still have the ability to send you away. Supali asked quickly. What are you going to do? Reg didn't say anything at this time. Ash also recovered from her joy and slowly looked at Reg with calm eyes. Reg also looked over a long time. Ash said calmly, I won't kill you, don't worry. Reg was stunned for a moment, then he was a little bit incredulous. Not killing us. He was a little puzzled. I just said bluntly that I wanted to kill the other person. As the saying goes, those who kill will be killed. He naturally understood this principle. Why? Aren't you afraid that I'll grow up and kill you? Reg asked. Page 77. Ash said calmly, then I'm welcome anytime. He really just wanted to spar and get a reward. As for killing Reg, he didn't have much of an idea. Because it would be great if such a master could be persuaded to join the protagonist group, but if that doesn't work and they still remain stubborn, he will still do it to them at any time. He only wants obedient people. Reg was silent. He didn't expect that the other party was so broad-minded. He didn't kill him. To be honest, no one wants to die if they can live. Reg is no exception. He has a wife and son. How could he be willing to die? He doesn't have the temper of a Saiyan prince, and has basically lived a miserable life, not taking his self-esteem too seriously. Reg was silent for a moment, then slowly looked at Ash and asked, I'm going to kill Vegeta. Ash nodded. You're welcome to come, but you can't do it with me around. Reg was silent. He was really helpless at this moment. This deep feeling of powerlessness and despair was the first time in his life. After a long moment, Reg sighed. Reg said slowly, I owe you my life, but I won't give up. I will come back. After saying that, he looked at his wife and sons beside him and said, Let's go. Just as he was about to leave. Call out. Two figures fell from the sky. It was none other than Champa and Bardos. Ziampa landed in front of Reg, with his hands behind his back. With an arrogant look, he said, Saiyan, do you want to become stronger? Follow me and I'll make you stronger easily. Who are you? Reg's face changed and he quickly stepped back. She actually appeared in front of him silently. Ziampa said slowly, God of Destruction. P.S. Please give me some money. More later. Chapter 62. If I can't win over Reg, I'll win over Ash. Subscribe. God of Destruction. With the appearance of Ziampa, everyone's eyes turned to him. What is the God of Destruction? Reg's family was puzzled and also wondered where this guy came from. Reg looked at Ziampa. Short, fat, just like any other person. This was Reg's first impression of the fat cat in front of him. Although the other party pretended to be mysterious, Reg was not impressed by this invisible pressure. What's going on? Reg stared at Ziampa. Who are you? He had never experienced this feeling before. Why can I feel this from someone who looks like a nobody? This is what Reg couldn't understand. Reg protected his family in front of him and stared at Ziampa. He is very weak now, but he still has to protect his family. Aside. Ash glanced at the two people who suddenly appeared with a calm expression. Ziampa and Bardos. After automatically skipping over Ziampa, Ash turned her attention to Bardos. Well, high ponytail, upturned nose, oval face, curvy figure, cool and sharp tongue, absolutely perfect. She is also good-looking, with a unique skin color that has a hint of exotic charm. The only drawback is these legs are a little too long. Ash thought that her height without hair was 1.80 meters, and with hair on she was 1.9 meters or above. but she was still a section shorter than Bardo's. As Ash looked at Bardo's also slowly turned her gaze over. She looked at Ash, with the corners of her mouth slightly raised, revealing a smile. Ash also smiled. Ziampa raised his hand, half covered his mouth, and coughed twice. Then he said mysteriously, I am the god of destruction of the sixth universe, in charge of the survival and destruction of countless planets. The entire universe, the entire world, is under the control of me, the god of destruction. When he saw Reg from the sky just now, he already felt sympathy for him. Why does the seventh universe have so many masters? He must win over a few to follow him back to the sixth universe. When Reg heard this, he was slightly surprised. God of destruction, in charge of the entire universe, control the life and death of countless people. Reg was a little shocked. This was the first time he heard of such a thing. But is this fat-faced guy in front of me really this kind of person? Reg was a little skeptical. When Ziampa saw the other person's expression, his face suddenly darkened. You do not believe me? Reg didn't say anything. Obviously, this is the answer. Ziampa, and this time. Ha 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 ha. I'm dying of laughter. Fatty, you really made me laugh. Those who want to poach me can't even find me. Do you want me to die of laughter and inherit my seventh universe? Beerus covered his stomach and laughed so hard that he fell backward, full of sarcasm. He finally got the chance. Poaching people in front of me. So courageous. But it would be funny if I didn't find anything. Everyone. Ziampa's face turned ashen and looked extremely ugly. Veins popped out on his forehead and he turned to look at Beerus and roared. Skin and bones, don't you want to live anymore? Beerus immediately stopped smiling, his expression turned cold and he scrambled closer to Ziampa. Oh, you want to fight? Ziampa's face turned as black as charcoal. Hit me if you want. You think I don't dare? Beerus snorted coldly. You've probably forgotten how I beat you up before. Do you want to experience the feeling of a sandbag-sized fist hitting a pig's face? Ziampa's face turned ugly. Skinny, don't be too proud too soon. That's what I gave you. HMPH, that's ridiculous. Beerus suddenly emitted a layer of deep purple aura, which was mysterious and extremely terrifying. Instantly reached the peak of normality. When they saw this scene, both Reg's family and Ash's expressions changed slightly. Reg stared at Beerus intently. Compared to that fat pig guy, this skinny guy does look more terrifying. Ash marveled at Beerus's strength at first glance. He seemed a little stronger than last time. Ziampa's face changed, but he was not willing to be outdone. A layer of the same purple aura suddenly rose around his body. The two stared at each other, neither refusing to admit defeat. Just when the two were about to fight. Lord Ziampa, Lord Beerus. That's it. Two voices suddenly brought them back to reality. Bardos and Weiss attacked at the same time, separating the two in an instant and preventing them from moving forward. Weiss said seriously, Lord Beerus and Lord Champa, the gods of destruction cannot fight each other. Bardos also nodded. Yes, the consequences of two gods of destruction fighting are incalculable. Two people, the two of them snorted coldly and stopped talking. Ziampa looked at Reg below with a gloomy expression. Cyan, have you made up your mind? Do you want to come with me? Beerus snorted coldly and said nothing. His eyes also looked towards Reg. He didn't choose to stop. Let Reg choose for himself, whether to live in his own universe or go to another universe. Page 78. It doesn't matter. For him, it was just the loss of a powerful scion. It doesn't matter. He also has Ash. As long as Ash is alive, his seventh universe will always be the strongest. After hearing this, Reg pondered for a moment, looked at Ash, and said decisively, I refuse. After he finished speaking, everyone looked over. You rejected the invitation of a god of destruction so decisively. Ziampa's face turned pale. He was really in trouble today. Ziampa's expression was as gloomy as water, and he said in a deep voice, Are you sure? Reg nodded. Yeah. Rejected without hesitation. Ziampa felt his face burning hot. as if it was being roasted. He is a god of destruction, and he has repeatedly lowered his status to invite the other party, but the other party seems not to appreciate it. Plus, there were so many people watching, especially Beerus. He really felt like he had lost all face. It's come to this. Saiba stared at Reg. How dare you, a human being, keep rejecting me? In that case then you can die. Destroy. The words fell. A deep purple energy suddenly condensed in his palm, and the energy contained an extremely terrifying power, as if it was ready to destroy everything. This is the power of destruction. Reg's expression suddenly changed. A terrifying aura approached, and a sense of death suddenly surged in his heart under this energy. It seemed like he might die at any moment. What kind of energy is this? Reg gritted his teeth. A fierce look flashed across his face. Instead of sitting and waiting to die, he might as well take this fat guy with him. Adding the time just now, he has almost recovered. Thinking of this, he was about to transform into Super 5. Ash's eyes moved, looked at Xianpa, and frowned slightly. Killing if you refuse? This is too lenient. Although he had known Xianpa's character for a long time, he still felt a little unhappy. Ash's eyes moved. It was just right. Taking this opportunity beat up Xianpa. Just as Ash was about to take a step forward, a voice suddenly interrupted him. Beerus's expression was calm, but his tone was cold. Champa, you killed someone in my universe right in front of me. You really don't take me seriously. There was no emotion in Beerus' voice, and you could tell that he was really a little angry. It's okay to have some minor fights normally, but this is an issue that touches the bottom line. As a god of destruction, how could he watch others kill people from his own universe? Of course, Beerus also took other factors into consideration. For example, he saw what Ash was doing. If Ash takes action, Xianpa will definitely be beaten up. Therefore, he had to step forward to temporarily ease the situation. Don't make it so embarrassing. However, Champa did not understand Beerus's point, and he looked incredulous. I'm going to kill you, a human? As for that, Xianpa stared at Beerus for a moment, then slowly lowered his hand and snorted coldly. Very good, I remember Beerus. Beerus didn't speak. Reg finally breathed a sigh of relief, as the thin sweat on his body showed that he was very nervous just now. Xianpa looked at Bardos beside him and was about to speak, but found that the other party was looking at someone. He followed Bardos's gaze. Xianpa paused, looked at Bardos and Ash back and forth, and his eyes suddenly lit up. Bardos wouldn't be interested in this human, would he? Caught it. Since I can't pull that Reg, why don't I try Ash? Thinking of this, Xianpa's face suddenly lit up with joy. Correct. Why not give it a try? He had always been wary of Ash's strength, which led him to ignore her as soon as he arrived. Immediately, Xianpa coughed twice, looked at Ash, and said solemnly, Well, do you want to go with me? The tone has obviously softened and become much softer. Although he is crazy, he is not stupid. Ash could definitely beat him up. He doesn't want to be a punching bag. As soon as these words came out, everyone present looked over. Even Bardos and Weiss couldn't help but look over. Beerus reacted the most. He rushed to Champa almost immediately and roared in a low voice, Champa, don't push your luck. Seeing Beerus angry, Xianpa felt even more that his choice was right. It is right to win over Ash. Xianpa was not afraid at all and said with a smile, Beers, why are you so petty? I just want someone to accompany me to the 6th universe to play. Beerus's face turned livid. Are you just kidding? You clearly want to snatch people away. Bardos's pretty face couldn't help but be slightly stunned. She didn't expect that Lord Xianpa would try to win over Ash. Aren't you afraid of him? But Bardos didn't think there was anything wrong with it. She also admired and liked Ash. Ash made a good impression on her. Strong, handsome, and innocent, that's what she thought. P.S. Please give me some money. Chapter 63, 3 Heroes vs. Ash. Subscribe this moment. Everyone looked at Ash, waiting for his answer. Reg also looked at Ash. He believed that the other party should refuse immediately like he did. After all, this god of destruction looks like trash at first glance. What can you learn by following him? Beerus punched Champa, not caring if he felt any pain or not. He rushed towards Ash and said anxiously, Ash, you need to think this over carefully. Champa is just a big fat pig. He doesn't know how to practice at all. It's completely useless to follow him. Hear the words. Ash smiled but said nothing. Instead, he fell silent. To be honest, he was quite interested in Champa's proposal. Apart from anything else, the first point is that I can definitely communicate with Bardos. Such a cool car. Secondly, his Yamoshi template needs to fight with strong people in order to improve his progress. For one thing, if he goes to Zayampana and beats him up every day, won't that increase his progress? It can be said that it is all beneficial. Moreover, Zayampa also said that he just invited him to play, and did not say that he would pull him over there to become a member of the sixth universe. He can come back anytime. Thinking of this, Ash suddenly felt that it was possible. It's done. Immediately, Ash slowly raised her head and looked at Zayantha. In the other's expectant eyes, she nodded gently. I can promise you. The voice just fell. Everyone looked over. I can't believe it. Beerus, in particular, said in panic, Ash, don't let this get you down. If you really want to learn, I can ask Weiss to teach you. Don't follow this fat pig. Reg also wondered if he had heard it wrong. He looked at Ash, somewhat puzzled. What could you learn from this person? He himself looks like a half-baked person. And aside. Page 79. Zainpo was stunned at first, then overjoyed. He didn't expect that what he just mentioned casually would actually come true. Great! Suddenly, Xiangpa could no longer suppress the smug look on his face. He looked at Beerus and felt inexplicably comfortable in his heart. Let you show off. Now I will take away your trump card. How will you respond? Then Xiangpa quickly said, what about us now? He didn't want to delay even a minute and wanted to leave as soon as he caught Ash. However, Ash shook her head and said, don't worry, I need to make arrangements for my funeral. Of course, Ash couldn't just leave like that. She had to sort out her own issues anyway. Xianpa nodded quickly, as if afraid that Ash would go back on his word. Do we need to follow you? Ash shook his head, no. Then he continued, you guys go back first. I'll come find you after I've finished my work here. Xianpa nodded. Since the other party said so, there was no need for him to be anxious. Just wait at home peacefully. Zhangpa looked at Beerus proudly and said with a smile, then we will go first, Lord Beerus. Beerus's face turned pale and he glared at Champa without saying anything. Bardos looked at Ashley, smiled and said, we welcome you anytime. Ash nodded and smiled, Bardos and Xianpa transformed into a beam of colorful light and left, heading straight out of the universe and towards an unknown galaxy. Gradually turned into a bright starlight in situ. See Champa leave. Beerus on the side could no longer suppress his emotions. His face was as black as charcoal. He looked at Ash and said in a deep voice, Ash, why did you agree to him? Everyone looked over. Ash smiled and said, I have my own research. Beerus pondered for a moment, then said solemnly, no matter what, the seventh universe is your home at any time. Ash nodded. There was no doubt about that. Things had come to this point and Beerus didn't plan to stay any longer. After saying hello to Ash, he prepared to leave. But before leaving, he glanced at Reg. As if thinking of something, he looked at Reg and said, if you want to become stronger, you can come to Planet Destroyer. Weiss will teach you. Weiss. Reg looked puzzled. Weiss smiled and stood up. It's me. Weiss glanced at Beerus with a resentful look on his face. Lord Beerus, you really don't treat me as a human being? Another one. Beerus's expression was a little unnatural, and he coughed twice quickly. Weiss, you're overthinking it. I'm doing this for your own good. for your own good, so I'm looking for someone for you to take care of. Wise rolled his eyes and said, I don't believe you. Reg stared at Wise for a moment, then nodded slightly to Beerus. I see. Afterwards, Beerus and Wise left and returned to Planet Destroyer. Reg glanced at Ashley, then left with his wife and sons. Soon, everyone left. Only Ash was left there. After pondering for a moment, Ash also teleported back home at the same time. Earth, Western Capital. Inside an apartment. No. 18, no. 21 and Ties were talking. Ash just returned to Earth and without thinking much, she brought Ties home directly. The house is very lively at the moment, and after some understanding, the three of them also knew their own situations. No. 18 looked helpless. She knew that Ash was restless. How long has it been? Another sister. Casey lowered her head and remained silent. She knew that Ash must have eaten. No. 21 clean. How abominable. No. 21 looked at the two of them, thought for a moment, and said, I think we can unite and defeat Ash together. The two of them looked over at the same time. No. 21 said seriously, Ash is such a playboy. She's definitely not going to be content in that case. Why don't we attack together? Completely put an end to his thoughts of hooking up with others after saying that. No. 21's pretty face couldn't help but blush. And heard this. No. 18 didn't react much. After all, she and No. 21 had been together. No. 18 frowned slightly, wondering if it was feasible. Tacy's pretty face turned red instantly, and she looked at No. 21 in shock. Are you serious? At the same time, she glanced at No. 18 again. Not sisters? You really thought about it a long time. No. 18 looked up and said seriously, you can give it a try. Ties. Tacy's pretty face was full of embarrassment, and a picture emerged in her mind. The image was too vivid, and she couldn't hold it in any longer. Her face flushed red, and she quickly shook her head. No way. The two looked over at the same time. Tacy clutched the corner of her clothes tightly, her voice so low it was almost inaudible. This should I ask Ashley for his opinion? Two people. Do you need to ask more? Just when the two were about to speak, just then, a voice came and interrupted them. What do you want to ask me for? Ash leaned over from behind the sofa to the left of Ties and asked in confusion. The three of them were stunned, then suddenly looked up. You're back? Tacy's pretty face was filled with surprise and she spoke quickly. Yes, Reg was defeated by me. Ash nodded and smiled. Then, Ash looked at No. 18 in confusion. What were you talking about just now? Tell me about it. No. 18. Number 18 blushed slightly and whispered softly, nothing. Ash turned her gaze towards No. 21 again, a puzzled look on her face. Okay. I saw Ash looking over. A blush suddenly appeared on No. 21's pretty face. This suggestion was her idea. But when I saw Ash, I felt a little embarrassed. After a moment of silence, she quickly pretended nothing had happened and said nothing. AI's eye narrowed her eyes and gently stroked Tacy's pretty face. Our Tacy shouldn't hide anything from me, right? Tacy's delicate body trembled and she slowly closed her eyes. He trembled and said, I don't know. Ash. Ash looked at the three of them. Her eyes moved, and then her face turned sad. Well, it's fine, but I might have to go out for a while, and I don't know if we can meet again. The words fell. The three of them looked over at the same time. Number 18 pretty face was nervous, and she was the first to ask, Where are you going? Ash smiled and said, Go to the 6th universe to practice. All the three of them breathed a sigh of relief. They thought Ash was going to face some powerful enemy again, but Number 21 looked up at Ash and asked, How long will it take? Ash thought for a moment. I don't know. It should be quite a long time. When Ash said this, he was naturally trying to bluff the three of them. He had the ability to teleport, so couldn't he come back at any time? He just wanted to know what the three of them were discussing without telling him. No. 21 looked at Ash, hesitated for a moment, and then slowly said, Page 80. Ash was stunned for a moment, then a smile appeared on her face. I don't think I have a problem with that. 3 people. Ties glanced at Ash resentfully, then looked at No. 18 and No. 21 helplessly. It seems. Is there really no need to ask Ash's opinion? It's getting late, let's get started. Ash smiled and said. Number 18 rolled his eyes. What time is it? 3 days passed in a flash. After Ash completely defeated the 3 people Kyan and Zhao, she walked out of the house with a relieved look on her face. Next, Ash went to the mall and bought a lot of food. After storing it all in a universal capsule, she prepared to set off for the 6th universe. In order to avoid anything happening while he was away, he specifically gave Son Gohan some instructions. If something happens, Beerus and the others must be informed and Wise must tell him. Ash's eyes closed slightly. Swish! Ash's figure disappeared from the spot, and the next second she appeared on an unknown planet. Ash glanced around in confusion. Are the coordinates given by Xiangpa correct? Where is this? At this moment, a female voice resounded through the sky. Stop right there. Boom! Not far ahead, I saw several tall and strong men being chased by a slender woman. And the voice came from that girl. The girl was agile and she knocked several men to the ground effortlessly. She clapped her hands and snorted coldly. You still want to bully others like this? Ash looked over, and after seeing who it was, she suddenly understood. Caulifla. So, this is the Sarada planet Hall? The planet where the Saiyans of Universe 6 live. The corners of Ash's mouth twitched slightly. Xiangpa is such an idiot. Give yourself the address of the planet Sarada, but what about others? P.S. Sorry for being a little late. Chapter 64. Furious Kyre, the Soul Punisher kills him in one move. Subscribe. Ash closed her eyes slightly, released the perception of divine power, and carefully searched every corner of the planet. After a while, Ash slowly opened her eyes. Sure enough, it didn't. Xiangpa is not here. Ash's face turned dark. You idiot. Please don't let me catch you, or you'll be in big trouble. At this moment, a crisp sound was heard. Hey, who are you? I've been watching you for a long time. What are you doing sneaking around like that? Caulifla put her hands on her hips and yelled at Ash on the high wall. Ash heard the sound and looked over. I saw a girl about 17 or 8 years old standing below. She had a slim figure and fair skin. She was wearing a pink bra on her upper body and a pair of purple loose pants on her lower body. Caulifla. Ash smiled and replied, nothing, just waiting for someone. Caulifla was stunned for a moment. Waiting for someone? She looked Ash over carefully. He is quite handsome. How come she has never seen him before? Caulifla flew forward, patted Ash's hands and abs, her eyes gleaming. Hey, what's your name? 103. The corners of Ash's mouth twitched slightly. Isn't this too presumptuous? Ash. Caulifla repeated, then smiled. My name is Caulifla. Ash nodded. Caulifla stared at Ash and said excitedly, You must be very strong, right? How about you come and fight me? She rubbed her hands and was eager to give it a try. Just as Ash was about to speak, 2 figures came running over. Gabe and Kyle. The 2 of them were breathing heavily. Gabe complained, Caulifla, you're running too fast. Don't you know to wait for us? Caulifla snorted coldly. Who made you so weak that you can't even walk a few steps? Gabe didn't want to argue with Caulifla, so he turned his gaze to Ash. He turned to Caulifla in confusion and asked, Who is he? Caulifla smiled and said, The friend I just met is called Ash. Hello, I'm Gabe. Gabe was stunned for a moment, then laughed. Ash glanced at Caulifla, feeling a bit overwhelmed by her carefree personality. CBFE. We've only just met once, and we've become friends. Ash didn't say anything, just nodded. And aside. Kyre lowered his head slightly, his expression unrecognizable. But Ash could still sense that the other party seemed jealous. Ash didn't care at all and was too lazy to pay attention to the jealous guy. He can even defeat Broly, so why would he be afraid of a low-profile female version of you? Hey, Ash, what are you daydreaming about? Have you decided to fight me? Caulifla said impatiently. Ash didn't respond, but just looked forward next interest. Boom! A ray of colorful light fell and then slowly dispersed. Bardos and Champa. Cyantha saw Ash and smiled. You're finally here, Ash. I've been waiting for you for a long time. Ash smiled and said, Cyantha, can you explain to me why the coordinates given to me are on the planet Serata? Cyantha was stunned for a moment, then said awkwardly, because I thought there were Saiyans here too. I hoped you could get along well and this time. A voice interrupted him. Bardos covered his mouth and chuckled. Master Cyantha is such a joke. Don't you want Ash to get involved with the Saiyans here? So you can keep Ash? Cyantha was so angry that his teeth were itching, and he glared at Bardos fiercely. But Bardos didn't care. Instead she laughed even more happily. Ash sneered. Do you really want to live here forever? Come to the Saiyan planet. Ash said calmly, all right, take me to Planet Destroyer. It'll be quieter so I can practice. Ash emphasized the word cultivation. Cyantha didn't notice anything unusual, but quickly said, okay. And aside. Gabe's clothes were soaked with cold sweat. He hadn't expected this. This man actually dared to speak to the god of destruction, Lord Cyantha, like this. And, most importantly, Lord Cyantha didn't dare to talk back. His Gabe had already gasped, staring at Ash in shock. At this time, Caulifla could no longer hold back. She said angrily, Hey, Ash, do you take my words seriously? Exclamation in an instant. Gabe hurriedly shouted nervously in a low voice, Caulifla, don't talk like that. If you want to fight for a while, I'll accompany you. Caulifla was stunned. Huh? What? Can you speak louder? You're not manly at all. Gabe was helpless. Forget it. Ash glanced at Caulifla and said calmly, you are too weak. All right, legends, that's it for today. Like, subscribe, and I'll meet you in the next audiobook.